And good evening to you, high school football fans, wherever you may be, driving around your car with YouTube going on through your sound system or whatever you got going. Welcome to the Butler County High School Sports Report, Saturday night coverage of Week 5. The Badin Rams and the Ross Rams here from Kumler Field in Trenton. Joel Sackenheim here along with my buddy,
John Williams.
Give it to the big guy.
Hey.
Biggie Styles, John Williams, Badin class of 06 with me on the call tonight. John, even though we're both Badin Rams alums, we're going to try to call this as much down the middle as possible.
Absolutely.
We obviously will have a lot of Ross listeners as well as Badin listeners, because this is the Battle of St. Aloysius and a house divided.
Of
that
course.
Entire area of Butler County is very, very much right down the middle with which Rams are the Rams worth pulling for.
Yes.
Two great high school football programs here. Which one you want to start with, Ross or Badin, as we talk?
Hey, let's go ahead. Let's start with our good old alum, Badin High School.
All right, Badin Rams right now. They are number 1 right now in Division III. Region 12. They've got a nice sizable margin, although if Ross wins this game tonight, Ross will nip them at the number 1 line, and Badin would get pushed down to 2.
Yes.
It all starts with Landon Viderick for quarterback.
Yes, Landon Viderick, senior from Queen of Peace. We've also got running back Jack Walsh to focus on as well from Queen of Peace. Jack Walsh right now, he's number 2 in the GCL co-ed rush. He's got 384 yards in 3 games. He was injured for one of those, but I'm sure he's looking to put on a good show tonight.
Very speedy, scat back type of guy. A lot of Darren Sproles, Dave Meggett type of references for those of you that get that. I'm trying to think of who would be our modern day comparison. Darren Sproles even is out of the league now. Would be what, Austin Eckelecker or whatever?
Probably Austin Eckelecker. That's kind of probably true, yes.
Scat back in between the tackles there. Landon Viderick is a senior, as you mentioned. He is the heart and soul of this Badin Rams team. He is not just the quarterback, he is also the punter for the green and white Rams. And he can throw it a little bit as well.
Very versatile.
Badin comes into this contest at 4-0 on the season. Ross comes into the contest at 3-0. They didn't get to play last week because of a COVID cancellation.
Yes.
Thank you, Dayton Dunbar.
Yes, thank you very much.
But the Ross Rams have had 2 weeks to get ready for this one.
Yes, and they're excited. You know, down on the field, speaking with their coach, Kenyon Commons, you can tell he's very much in game mode. His key focus, get the win tonight. That's what the focus is.
Yeah, he didn't want to hear a thing about number 1 in the Harbin ratings, did he?
No, he did not.
He wants to beat Badin tonight. He wants to win a SWAC title.
Yes.
Conference schedule starts for both of these teams next week. Ross with the Southwestern Ohio Conference, Badin in the GCL co-ed. A lot of crossover games between those two conferences as well.
Right.
Talawanda knocked off Carroll last night. That's good news for Ross and not so good news for Badin, as Badin will have to play Carroll and they won't be worth as many points. Obviously, that's a game that Talawanda wins. They'll be worth now 5.5 points for Ross when they see them later on this season. Ross's quarterback is Braden Fraseman, and we call him a quarterback because he is the field general, but we're going to see him run a lot more than we're going to see him pass tonight.
That's true. I mean, Braden Fraseman, he's actually second in the SWAC with 480 rush yards. So as much as
say that again, the quarterback.
The quarterback, yes.
Is second in the SWAC in rushing.
Rushing, 480 rush yards. And that's only in 3 games. So, I mean, you think about it, 3 games.
How many rush yards does he have? You wrote it down somewhere. He's got over 400, right?
480.
480, almost
Yes.
500 rush yards in 3 games for the quarterback, Fraseman. Their other running back is Riley Caldwell.
Yes, Riley Caldwell.
He's number 15. We'll see him tonight.
Yes, 381 rush yards. So
very similar production to Jack Walsh.
Absolutely.
With the quarterback on top of it. We're looking at, I'm kind of looking at the referees at midfield. I think they're in prayer. It looks like they got their hats off, and it looks like they're offering up a prayer before the game that they might referee the game well.
Yes, indeed.
That's pretty cool to see.
That is very neat.
I like it. Playing Ross, we talked to Coach Nick Yorty before the game. Kind of like playing one of the service academies.
Yes. They very much like to run kind of that triple option. They feel they're the best around at it, and they're excited.
This might be a clash of tempo.
Yes.
We were talking about that with both coaches a little bit before the game, John.
Yeah, it's very, very much tempo-based. I think Badin is going to be looking to getting out that early lead and then controlling the tempo from there on out.
If the game goes well for Badin, that's what it looks like,
yes,
right?
Yes.
A couple touchdowns early and make Frazeman have to throw the ball.
And like in good old classic Madden fashion from on Ross's perspective.
Yes, if Ross gets the game going the way they want it, what does it look like?
They're going to control the tempo. They're going to stretch the clock as long as they can, and at the end of every drive, either get a field goal or a score after draining lots and lots of clock.
Coach Commons even mentioned even a punt at the end of every drive is not necessarily a bad thing. They just want to finish every drive with a kick, which I guess means no fumbles and no interceptions would be the end goal.
Always a key for either team.
For the Ross Rams tonight. Student sections, this is an absolutely packed house at Kumler Field. COVID be darned. Student sections both come out real strong. Ross is going white out tonight.
And I would imagine that would make Badin going farm out.
And Badin is going farm out tonight. There's a lot of plaid, a lot of cowboy hats and cowboy boots there in the Badin student section. It kind of reminds me of stories my dad used to tell about the Badin-Fairfield rivalry back in the 70s or so. Fairfield was not nearly as developed at that point in time, and those guys would have to ride the bus together, as I'm sure a lot of Badin and Ross students end up having to ride the bus together.
Yes, indeed.
And they would call it the fish and the farmers. That's what they would joke about.
Oh, yes.
You know, the Fairfield kids back then would call the Badin kids fish.
Yes.
The Badin kids would call the Fairfield kids farmers. Obviously, I'm a Badin alum, but I've done my part to be neutral tonight. I went to McDonald's on the drive-thru. They've got the 2-for-$6 deal. I got a filet of fish for Badin and a quarter-pound cheeseburger for Ross. So we've got the cow and we got the fish tonight.
Wonderful.
Whichever Rams happen to win the game is going to be the #1 seed in Division III, Region 12.
So as neutral as we can be, we'll just say go Rams.
Go Rams. That's exactly right. So they're holding up the start of the game for about a minute and a half because tonight's game, besides being on our radio broadcast, is also Chatterbox's here. They're doing a televised broadcast as well as the CW. So there are some people at home right now able to get, I don't even know what channel that is anyway, 12-2 on an antenna. They got the extra channels or whatever.
Something like that, yes.
Something like that. I saw somebody walking around with a Star 64 polo shirt on.
Yes.
I mean, the media coverage for this game is pretty immense and probably deserving of the top two teams in Division III, Region 12, playing against each other.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to take a quick commercial. We'll be right back on the Butler County High School Sports Radio Network.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
And we are back here at Kumler Field, which has been acting as Badin's home field. We thank the Edgewood Cougars for being so willing to host the Badin Rams these last couple years. Hamilton High has not been the easiest to work with there in that situation, so they got the games away from the Schwarm. Fairfield was going to host these games starting last year, then the COVID pandemic happened, and that became a little bit more challenging, so to speak. And so Kumler Field has kind of opened their hands and their Saturday nights to the Badin Rams for their home games. This is actually Ross's first game out of 2 at this stadium because they will be back here in Week 9 to play the Edgewood Cougars.
Excellent, okay.
Ball is put on the tee by Jackson Neeson, the soccer-playing kicker for the Badin Rams. Ross is going to have the ball first, going north, defending the south goal. And Neeson has it up on the tee. I hope you enjoy it, and we're off. The kickoff goes deep to about the 6-yard line where it is muffed by Ross, number 2, Aiden Brown. He's going to make a couple moves, break a couple of tackles, brought down by a pile of Badin Rams at their own 16-yard line. Poor field position for the Rams on a bad break there to start their first drive, and here comes Braden Frazeman to start things off for Ross. Ross Rams going monochromatic white. Biggie, you like their helmets?
I love the helmets. I especially love the maroon horns on the helmet. That's great.
We got for those of you that are not able to watch, which is all of you tuned in right now, we've got the gold helmet with think of the old St. Louis Ram horn in maroon, with maroon face masks, white jerseys, yellow numbers with maroon outline, make it a little harder to see. The pitch goes to Jay Warren, and Warren's got some yards. Going from left to right across the formation outside the tackle. He gets about 7 yards on the play.
Tackled by number 11, Braden Moore.
Braden Moore gets in there for the Rams. First, they're all the Rams. This is going to be hard.
This is going to be interesting, yes.
2nd down and 3 for the Ross Rams. Ball is at their own 23-yard line. Tight formation, man in motion. Handoff goes to the up back, who has absolutely no room.
Yeah, Logan New just shot right through the gap in there. Got the tackle for the Ross Ram running back.
The nose tackle gets in there deep. Biggie, you got a soft spot for big man out there playing
I love
football.
the big guy. I love the big guy.
3rd down and 2 now. We'll call that a gain of 1. And the Ross Rams now will have their first 3rd down situation to have to face tonight against this stout Badin defensive line. Flexbone formation. Man goes in motion. Man jumps off sides. Or not.
Or not.
Badin Rams flinched, but they may have flinched in a vertical fashion where they didn't actually cross the line of scrimmage. The umpire stopped play. There was no flag thrown by either one of the line judges. And instead, it's going to be a uniform issue for Ryan Iams, who has to move off the field and be replaced. So Ross, no penalty yardage there, no play there. It's still going to be 3rd down and 2 as the Ross Rams rehuddle and try to come up with what they're going to do. What do you think, Biggie? Another fullback dive?
Either that or they might try to go around the end again. We'll see.
Riley Caldwell is the tailback that is, he's close enough he can almost touch his quarterback. There is the fullback dive to Caldwell. He's eaten up. He gets about a yard, maybe 2. And a very emphatic 1st down signal given by the official on the Badin bench as Badin's coaching staff all puts their arms up in the air and wondering what that's about. But it is enough for a 1st down for Ross.
Tackle made by 17, T.J. Hayes.
T.J. Hayes, a 5'11", 210-pound senior defensive end.
Who hit like a truck on that play. Wow.
1st and 10. For Frazeman with Caldwell behind him. Frazeman keeps it. The fake dive, keep it read option. And he is wrapped up there by Braden Moore of the Badin Rams. He gets out to the 30-yard line, does Frazeman. That is a gain of 3 yards on the play. And it's going to be a 2nd and 7 for Ross. And Ross so far has been staying on schedule, John.
Yes, so far.
Obviously, Ross does not want any kind of penalties here. A holding penalty kind of ruins this. This is kind of like the 2003 Carolina Panthers. If you can stay on schedule,
yes,
finish every drive with a kick, eat up a lot of time as you're doing it.
Set the tone, set the pace.
The handoff goes to Caldwell. He is tackled by the turf monster at the 31-yard line. No tackle on the play. He simply got the ball and then immediately tripped. He's going to get a gain of 1. And now we're going to have a 3rd and 6. This is a little less comfortable for Ross. If they can get 4 or 5, you could potentially go for this on 4th down, although you are on your own half of midfield. That'll
a little
be
risky,
time.
but understandable if they do.
Yeah, it'll be decision-making time for Commons if it gets to that, but obviously the Ross Rams are hoping that they'll be able to pick up these 6 yards. They need to get out past the 36-yard line in order to convert this. Frazeman has man in motion. That is Jay Warren, and a man jumps early. And this is going to be a false start.
This will make it a little bit easier.
A little easier. Not for Badin, yes.
Not
for
Badin.
Ross? No.
For Ross.
It's a 5-yard penalty on the Ross Rams.
Yeah.
Moving backwards, and we're going to have a 3rd down and 11 now. Maybe 3rd and 10. Okay, so it was 3rd and 5. We're going 3rd and 10 now. And the Badin cheering section, the students down there going, you can't do that. This is the most students I have seen at a student section at any game I've called this year, both teams combined. This is wonderful. Frazeman, play action. He's got man coverage on the outside. Throws back dangerously across the middle.
Very dangerous.
His intended receiver on the play was Ryan Imes. And Carson Cheek, who is a co-leader in the GCL co-ed for interceptions, nearly had his 4th of the season there on that play. Frazeman scrambled out toward the right, knew he did not have the ability to run for the first down, threw it kind of back across the field into some very dangerous territory. A fortunate incomplete pass. And it looks like both teams have their quarterbacks as their punter, as Braden Frazeman is back there to punt left-footed. Nice hang time, past midfield. It's going to bounce to the 42-yard line. A clump of field turf comes up, and a very generous Ross bounce. Finally downed
on the 29
by Brendan Severe at the 29-yard line. They may spot it at the 30. We'll see what the officials do with that. That punt was at least 40 yards.
Impressive.
That's nice.
That's impressive.
All right, so John, your first look at the Badin offense here. Badin Rams coming out in a monochrome Kelly green.
Gotta love the green.
Black numbers in super enlarged font.
Very big.
Very easy to tell their numbers.
Yes, indeed.
That's a nice thing.
It definitely helps from this vantage point.
Helmets are going to be, oh, look at this. We've got a TV timeout. I'm not used to calling TV timeouts for Channel 12, the CW. The Badin Rams have white helmets. We were talking in the pregame a little bit about how their helmets have gone through a couple different reiterations over the years. When I was a student at Badin, it was the plain white, nothing other than black face masks. When you were at Badin, Coach Dave Worth had taken over, and
the big B.
The big pregnant B on the side. That B has gone away. It became a plain white helmet again with a tri-stripe of black, green, black.
Yes.
Going down the center of the helmet. The seniors last year for Badin decided they wanted to have the numbers, and so the left side of the helmets only have the numbers. As Badin goes from the left to the right on your radio dial, we will not be able to see those numbers this quarter. We will be able to see them in the second quarter if they change sides. Spread formation for the Badin Rams. Landon Vitterick's going to go for a short pass. And it bounces, intended for Cooper Fear, the pride of St. Anne's. It kind of bounced his feet. Cooper went down to try to snag it, and the ball kind of short-hopped him like a shortstop.
Just a little too low. He was trying to tie his shoes with that one.
Second down and 10 for the Badin Rams. As the clock continues to run, and shouldn't. Back judge saw it. Okay, now it's 2nd and 10. Landon Vitterick has trips wide receivers to the left. This is a handoff to Walsh, and Ross is ready for it.
Absolutely.
3 guys converge for the Ross Rams.
Austin Ferris in with the early hit on there.
Bryson Baston as well, number 44. Both of them kind of converge. That's a wonderful stop for the Ross Rams. It's going to be 3rd down and a long 10. Not what Coach Yordy wanted.
Definitely
not. His first 2 plays. Incomplete pass and a 0-yard rushing gain. We're down below 7 minutes by the time they snap this football. Here in the first quarter at Kumler Field, Landon Vitterick is going to scramble toward the left as he rolls out. Pocket breaks down, and he is going to be sacked by the Ross Rams. Who got him, Biggie?
Looked like Bryson Baston.
The nose tackle,
wow,
who helped out on the tackle for no gain on the previous play, chases down Landon Vitterick going from right to left, gets a 2-yard sack, and the Badin Rams are going to have to punt. Landon Vitterick is going to drop back in kicking formation for Badin. A 3-and-out for the Ross defense. That's got to make Coach Commons happy.
Very happy, yeah. And in talking to Coach Commons before the game, you know, he talked about how his team was healthy and his team had good speed. Their game plan was to contain the quarterback, and so far on that drive, they did.
The Ross Rams had a 40-yard punt. Landon Vitterick says, anything you can do, I can do better. Punts it out of bounds for 45 yards. No return. Lots of hang time, but he angled it directionally. That'll make Dan Vogt happy if he's listening. A directional angled kick. And so the Ross Rams will start their second drive of the game at their own 25-yard line. Bring out the Service Academy offense again, Biggie.
Let's hear it. Let's hear the triple option.
Got potential for fullback dive, Frazeman keeper, and then later on in the game, they'll probably add in the pitch to the wide back.
Little pitch.
That is the triple option. Very few teams run it better than Ross. Coach Yorty certainly knew that before the game as we were chatting with him. He was definitely prepared for assignment football.
Yes.
1st and 10. Frazeman has a man in motion, hands it off to the tailback, the fullback Caldwell. And Caldwell runs into a mass of humanity and gets about a half a yard at best.
The little green wave hitting the runner.
Took him down. Tulane Pride, right?
Yes.
Yes. They're going to be back home, I guess, in New Orleans, I think, next week. So
yes.
Good for them. And the Saints are coming back home in week 4.
That's
Their
true.
next home game.
Yes.
So good for the people of Louisiana.
Yes, indeed.
After Hurricane Ida displaced them for a little bit. 2nd down and 9 now. Man in motion. Handoff again to Caldwell. Another fullback dive and a 0-yard gain. There's just not a lot of room to work with them there, John.
No, there is not. Number 32, Caden Starks with the tackle there.
Badin's defense holding up strong. John, the Badin defense has been off to a great start this year.
Yes.
I think you got a couple stats that you wrote down earlier about that. They had allowed.
Yeah, Badin defense allowed only 14 points in the first 3 games. So they're tough. They're competitive. They're here to win, too.
It's not going to be easy for Ross. Frazeman in a passing situation. Chucks it deep. He's got a receiver. It is caught. Jay Warren across midfield. And that's going to be a massive gain of about 30, maybe 35 yards there.
I think Badin caught a little bit sleeping on that one. They weren't expecting the throw, but Frazeman, you got to hand it to him. What an arm.
He's got an arm. He dropped that thing. It was man coverage. Jay Warren got past his defender. I'm sure Badin's all peering in the backfield. They've done their homework. They know Ross has only thrown the ball 8 times in the first 3 games.
That's right.
Ross may have to throw it a little more than they want to, at least to keep Badin's defense honest. They did there, and the Ross Rams have a 1st and 10 in Badin territory at the Badin 35-yard line. Handoff from the shotgun formation now. Goes to Caldwell up the middle, and a flag thrown by the umpire as a Ross Rams helmet goes spinning around like a top on the field turf.
Yeah, and I got to say, impressive from Frazeman. You know, wide receiver last year, the quarterback for Ross graduated. Frazeman took up the helm and showing some good style with that throw. Nice little touch pass.
That was beautiful.
It was.
Absolutely. The penalty flag is going to be a hold. It happened right at the line of scrimmage. It's a 10-yard penalty. John, one thing you'll see about high school football is the penalties are enforced from the spot at which they occur, not from the line of scrimmage.
Gotcha.
This looks very normal to us as a 1st and 20 just because the hold happened actually at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So a 1st and 20 after the big long pass play and then the holding penalty. Ross is now behind the chains again. Flexbone formation. Aiden Brown in motion. Handoff goes to Caldwell, who is roped around and tackled.
The green wave again.
Jackson Martin was the first one that got there. He got 2 fistful of jersey and then started spinning them around until his friends got there to help him. It's kind of like tackling you over at Mabry's house.
Very true. Very true.
The only difference being that Riley Caldwell did not try to throw the ball left-handed.
That's true.
Out of the attempted tackle there. Second, that's a loss of 2, and 2nd down and 22 now for the Ross Rams as Braden Frazeman goes back into the shotgun formation now. They're going to need a couple of bigger chunks here. They probably have 3 plays to get it if they get enough on the first 2. This is an option pitch.
There's the pitch.
To Caldwell. He's got some room. Another fistful of jersey there. Up the field. They're going to get most of the penalty yardage back. It's going to be a 3rd down and 11. Frazeman took the direct snap. He is the quarterback after all. He basically ran right off the right tackle and knew it was going to be a pitch play pretty much right away. And as the defense collapsed, pitched that ball out toward the boundary and got Caldwell involved. It's a nice gain of 11 yards there. If they can do it again, they'll be right at the sticks here.
Good heads up by Frazeman.
Trips receivers now on the far left side of the field. One running back, and this is going to be a quick little smoke pass to Jay Warren. Jay Warren breaks 1 tackle, gets a couple of blocks. He's going to have enough for the 1st down as Badin finally guides him out of bounds. Braden Moore was the one that kind of guided him out. The Ross Rams on a 2nd and 22 pick up 11 and then pick up 14 and move the chains.
They're just chugging along.
The Ross Rams are at the verge of the red zone. 1st down and 10 at the Badin 22-yard line as we approach 3.5 minutes left to go in quarter number 1. Badin Ross at Kumler Field. Handoff to Riley Caldwell, the fullback. Up the middle, Logan New, number 71, makes the tackle. The big old nose tackle. He's what is he over there on the roster there, Biggie? Logan New.
He is 6'2" and 220. Senior.
Give it to the big guy.
Give it to the big guy.
That is a gain for Riley Caldwell of about 3, maybe 3.5. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 for the Ross Rams. Now down below 3 minutes left to go in quarter number 1. Going from right to left across your radio dial. Frazeman keeps the ball, and nothing was there. Be careful.
And good old Tulane or the Green Wave.
Wow. We had, once again, Jackson Martin as well as Caden Starks, both involved with that tackle. Logan New bit on the fullback dive and tackled Caldwell right away, but Caldwell did not have the ball. Starks and Martin followed up with Frazeman, tackled him. Ends up being a loss of about a yard. It's 3rd and 8. Good assignment football for the Badin defense there.
Yes, indeed.
Nothing Ross could have done on that play, just nothing there.
Nothing going.
Frazeman is going to run. I think that might have been a busted play.
I believe it was.
Looked like he turned right, expecting his running back to be going right. His running back went left. He had nobody there. He took it, got about a yard at most.
Logan New with an initial hit.
Badin defense holds firm, and Ross is going to try a field goal. They've got a pretty good kicking game here. This is going to be Sully Spencer on the kick. This is going to be a 36-yard attempt, just slightly off-center toward the left. Hold is down. The ball is up in the air, and it is plenty good.
Well through
nice
the uprights.
Well, the Ross Rams strike first. We got 1:37 left to go here in the first quarter at Kumler Field. The Ross Rams 3, the Badin Rams nothing. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Ross Rams draw first blood. Good possession there, John.
Absolutely, and I think that they are definitely setting the pace and the tempo of the game right now. The strategy that the coach wanted to implement, it's happening.
This is definitely, I mean, again, it's only the first quarter, but so far the game is being played to Ross's liking.
Yes.
Badin has only run 3 offensive plays.
That's true.
And we're down to 1.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Time of possession is heavily slanted toward Ross. Although, as our buddies Kurt and Matt Hubbard like to say, you know, when you get 2 possessions for one team and 1 possession for the other, and then they show the graphic on the television, kind of looks a little more lopsided even than it needs to be. It'd be more fair to compare it after this Badin drive. The kickoff for Spencer goes to the 1-yard line. It's going to be returned by Braden Moore. Goes from left to right. Another fistful of jersey there as Josh Botts grabs it. The Badin student section didn't like it. I don't know why. It was perfectly legal.
It was.
We do have a flag, not on the tackle, but way in the middle of the field. And it looks like it's going to be a hold on Badin, called away from the ball.
Well, and I have to go back to that last drive with Ross. You know, when we were talking to Coach Commons earlier before the game, you know, one of the things he talked about is he knew his guys were undersized, but he believed that if they could set the pace, give the good effort, and give good technique, that they would be victorious. And I got to say, the effort on that last drive, absolutely outstanding.
This has to be everything Ross would have wanted to hope for, other than getting a touchdown on the drive.
Of course, yes.
But as far as if they could have scripted an ideal first quarter for this game,
yeah.
They probably have what they're looking for, at least right now. That's pretty good.
This is the drive they're looking for.
This is the drive. The Badin Rams, after the holding penalty, can be backed up at their own 14-yard line to start this drive. 5 wide receivers set, and now a shift in motion as Jack Walsh comes in And a pitch to Walsh going to left. He's dancing east-west, and a flag from behind the play. This is only going to be a gain of 2. And it looks like this is going to be a hold on Henry Birchwell, number 64 for the Badin Rams. He had kind of pancaked his Ross player, but was then laying on top of him. And it looked like the referee in the white hat threw the flag from behind the play, and that is indeed what it is going to be. It is going to be a holding penalty. It's going to be half the distance to the goal from the 17-yard line because the hold happened 3 yards upfield. This is going to get brought about to the 8.5, 9-yard line.
Number 1, Jack Hansel, good effort on running down the runner, getting a tackle.
Ross defense swarming so far.
Yes, sir.
We've only seen him in 4 plays.
Yes.
Well, technically, statistically, only 3 because that play doesn't even count.
That's true.
It's a first down and 15 now.
Motion on the defense.
Viderick, quick little out pattern. That is to Quinn Brennan.
Oh.
Gets stripped, and the ball trickles harmlessly out of bounds. I don't think the student section saw it. Number 44, Bryson Baston was there, and he fell on top of the ball right after it hit the white chalk over there. Student section, I think, expected they were getting the ball over there because the student section is all the way across the field here at Kumler. Yeah. And Badin is going to keep the ball. The fumble goes harmlessly out of bounds.
At least the student section's in a much better position with the sun having been set.
Oh,
not being blinded by the light.
Thank you, Manfred Mann. Handoff to Jack Walsh up the middle. He's going to gain about 2 yards. It's going to set up a 3rd down and 3 for the Badin Rams. They are at their own 21-yard line. Ross has got everything they've won out of this first quarter. Now they got to make one more stop here defensively. They can get the ball back to start the second. Everything going Coach Cummins' way. Badin, big 3rd down conversion early in the game here. Quick little button hook to Quinn Brennan. Right back to him. Caught it. They needed 3 yards. He ran 6. Stopped on a dime. Turned right back around. There was the ball.
Love that little curl route.
Caught it, went right down to one knee, said, I don't need to get any more yards after this.
I'm going to stop right here.
First down for the Badin Rams. Big conversion there as the offense will continue. We're below 30 seconds left in quarter number 1. Badin's ball at their own 25-yard line. And fake handoff to Walsh. Viderick scrambling toward the left, throws across his body. A flag on the very backside of the play. That pass was intended for Eric Rawlings, the 6'1" tight end. Rawlings is a senior. A lot of seniors on this Badin squad. One reason they're number 1 right now in the region in terms of the playoff points.
Absolutely, continuity.
Very fearsome, dangerous team.
But you got to remember, too, a lot of these kids are Queen of Peace kids, too, so they've been together for years.
They've been together for years, and they probably know a lot of the guys on Ross, too.
Exactly.
You go
they
to
know
Queen
their
of Peace,
opponents, and they know each other. So.
That's kind of split ground there, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
The flag is still being talked about. Looks like it's an ineligible downfield on Badin, and Ross is going to decline the penalty. They would rather have 2nd and 10 instead of 1st and 15.
Very understandable.
Makes sense. Only have to stop him one less play. 2nd down. It's so odd because you can tell both teams kind of want to run, but both teams defenses also know that they want to run.
Exactly.
And the defenses are a little farther ahead of the offenses. So it's going to advantage whoever can actually throw it here. Viderick's going to pass. Great protection. Braden Moore over the middle. Incomplete.
Just couldn't hang on to it.
He was running a wide receiver post pattern right at the 50-yard line. The ball hit him right in the hands. He would have snagged that catch if it were not for the defensive back, Brendan Sevier, who hit him right at the opportune moment to
perfectly timed hit. Perfectly timed.
3rd down and 10. Viderick's got to like that throw. I mean, that's exactly where you want to put it.
And he should. It was great placement. It was timed just right. It just unfortunate. The defender said, I'm here too.
Sevier doing his job. Roll out to the short side to the right. Viderick's going to tuck it and run. He's going to have a hard time getting all 10 yards on this. He does truck stick one of the Ross defenders. He's going to get about 9 yards. That's very close to the first down.
That was a little truck stick to Bryson Baston. Baston says, I'm not in the bastion.
The officiating crew gave Badin a very generous spot.
Very generous indeed.
And they're not even going to measure.
Wow.
They're going to call that a first down. And I guess turnabout's fair play because Ross got one of those on one of their first 2 drives of the game.
That's true.
So whoever's spotting the football there is the line judges. They're being very generous with both of these teams with some forward progress there. Badin is going to have a 1st and 10 when we resume. But we're going to change sides first because we have reached the end of quarter number 1 from Kumler Field.
Go Rams.
It's the Ross Rams 3, the Badin Rams nothing. Come on back, why don't you?
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
Halftime score involving another one of these Division III Region 12 teams, as well as a former GCL co-ed school. It is Big Red Hughes leading the Purcell Marion Cavaliers 24-13 at the half. They started their game about an hour before we did.
Okay.
Big Red Hughes is right now, at this very moment, in 12th place in Division III Region 12. They had 2 byes to start the season. That was COVID concerns. So they didn't actually start their year off until week 3. Big Red Hughes ended up beating Lockland and Dayton Christian, 2 schools that have not given them much in terms of playoff points. Purcell Marion actually could give them 13 points tonight if Big Red Hughes can hang on to that.
That would be huge.
Hughes is going to be able to pass a few teams if they can get this win tonight. I would imagine they could jump from 12th maybe into the 9 or 10 range around to where Mount Healthy and Franklin currently reside. We're going to look at that a lot more at halftime as we go through all of the different playoff rankings.
That'll be interesting to follow.
Computer points. Absolutely the most fair way to do it. College football, we hope you're finding a way to listen. 1st and 10 for the Badin Rams. They are now going from right to left, and we can see the numbers on their helmets. 38-yard line. Landon Vederick almost spins out of one tackle, but a second effort by the same tackler for the Ross Rams. And that is once again Bryson Baston. We've called his name a lot tonight, John.
Yeah, he's all over the field.
He's like Fisa. He's everywhere you want to be.
Absolutely.
Ross has got to appreciate Bryson Baston's efforts tonight so far through 1 quarter and a play. 2nd down and 8 for
we'll
the
definitely
Badin Rams.
give Baston the discount double check on that.
The discount double check. That's right. That's right. This is a straight quarterback power Cam Newton play. Viderick has got room.
Ooh.
Bouncing to the outside. He's going to get the 1st down and a few more yards on top of that. And he's across midfield.
Tackle made by Cole Dearson.
Cole Dearsing comes up with the tackle there in the secondary. Viderick was not touched until he reached the secondary on that play.
Yeah, it was good design play. Good draw.
Good blocking there by the Badin offensive line to pull that thing off.
Excellent.
1st and 10, Badin Rams at the Ross 45-yard line. And now the Badin student section making some noise, making it hard for their offense to hear. Viderick, 0-step drop from the shotgun. Tries to hit an out route to Braden Moore and just throws it a little bit too far, and maybe a fortunate thing that he did. That might have been an interceptable ball if he would have left it short.
Yeah, Jack Hansel was right there along with the receiver, so he was eyeballing it too.
Hansel's got a magnificent head of hair poking out from behind that helmet.
Nice looking little Troy Polamalu look to him.
Oh, it's good. We definitely like.
He's a head and shoulders above the competition.
That's awesome. Jack Hansel, good play there on defense. Jack Walsh takes the toss pitch. Bounces outside a little bit, churning his legs. He's about a yard short of the 1st down before the Ross Rams pile him up there. That's a wonderful run by Jack Walsh.
And finally, the rest of the defense, the white tidal wave collapses on the runner.
Dylan Hammonds and Brendan Severe combined for that tackle, but not before Jack Walsh picks up 9 yards on the play. 3rd down and 1. It's nice when you throw an incomplete pass on 1st down to be able to pick up 9 yards on the ground.
It definitely helps.
Opens up your playbook for 3rd and potentially 4th down. This is another quarterback power to Viderick. Viderick's going to dive forward. He's got enough for the first. I thought he had enough for the 1st down. The far sideline, judge marked him for enough, but the near side on Badin's sideline is going to mark him about a half-yard short.
Holding up the fist for 4th down.
So it's going to be 4th down and about a half a yard, as Viderick does not get a generous spot on that one. Though, to be fair, that was the official that was closest to the play, so he did absolutely have the best angle.
Absolutely.
Kind of crossed up his line judge on the Ross sideline there, as they were kind of about a yard apart as to where to mark that.
And now
We're
you
down
can hear
below
the
10
Ross
minutes.
fan section just getting on their feet and cheering loud.
Well, I'll tell you, it's always nice when you get down to Robinson Field for this type of matchup and you see 3 people deep all the way around the stadium standing up. Kumler's got a few more stands than Robinson Field does. But you still are seeing people all around the track, at least 1 row deep, going along that Ross side. This is going to be a timeout taken by the Badin Rams. So as we take this timeout real quickly, we're going to go ahead and show you what we're talking about for this Region 12 playoffs. Apologize for the small font, but there are 27 schools we have to get in here. You see Badin and Ross right now are 1 and 2. Everything in yellow is a Friday night result that went the way of the team. Everything in the darker blue is a Friday night result that did not go the way of the team. So if you're looking at Badin, they play Ross in week 5 tonight. It's worth 16 second-level points if they can win that game. The 2 yellow ones are Mount Healthy and Bellbrook, because Mount Healthy beat Fenwick, and Bellbrook also got their win against the Franklin Wildcats last night. So 11 second-level points Badin has already picked up this weekend. And then Northwest and Roger Bacon both lose. Roger Bacon loses to McNicholas, so Badin can still get those points later on this year if they beat McNick. Northwest lost to Alter on a last-second field goal. 30-28, the Alter Knights.
And that's when it hurts.
They have improved their team up to 2-3 now. Alter's played a ridiculously tough schedule so far. Time remains to see how good Alter is this season. Badin will see them later on. Ross knows about them too. They played them in the playoffs last year. 3rd and 1. Handoff to Walsh. Right up the middle out of the shotgun formation. He needed 1. He got 2. It's a 1st down for Badin.
What a call on 4th down.
Only 3rd. Only 3rd. They took a timeout.
Oh, that's right.
They took a timeout. That's what kind of threw us off a little bit there. They had 2 plays to get it, and they do indeed pick it up. 1st down and 10 for the Badin Rams. They are now at the Ross 33-yard line, trying to get their way down toward the red zone. 9 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Little hitch pattern. That's going to be there most of the night. Cooper Fear makes the catch, runs forward about 9 yards, turns around. There's the ball.
Josh Botts with the hit out of bounds.
Generous spot again by the line judge.
Very generous
I thought
indeed.
he got 9. They're going to say he got more than 9. They're going to say that he got 10. The ball goes down to the 23-yard line. I was going to say it better be the 23. If it's the 24-yard line, then it is a 9-yard gain. There'd be no reason to move the sticks.
That is correct.
These referees are being generous, it's like Oprah Winfrey. You get a 1st down. You get a first down. 1st and 10 for the Badin Rams at the Ross 23-yard line. Viderick with Walsh behind him. He's going to look to throw. No man open, going to take it and try to run up the middle. Bounces off of 1 tackle, bounces off a 2nd tackle, and finally brought down by Josh Botts. 3rd guy to hit him, takes him down for a gain of about almost 5, almost 4. We're going to call this 2nd down and a long 6, short 7. Ball resting about the 19.5-yard line, it's just inside the 20 there for Badin Rams. Trips receivers to the right side of the formation. Viderick has been in the shotgun most of the game. Handoff, fake handoff to Walsh. Viderick keeps it on the read option. Tucks it in between a couple of guys. Toward the end zone. Punches it in.
What a run.
And it's a touchdown for the Badin Rams.
Wow. I tell you what. He saw the pocket collapse. He took off, and he ran. Nice shifty move in the middle of the field to shake off the initial tackler. And he saw the end zone, and he scored.
Slippery little sucker in there, wasn't he?
Like a little Slytherin. Badin dressed in the green. Shout out to all you Harry Potter fans. The Slytherin team makes the touchdown.
Viderick says, turn to page 394. And Badin's going to try the swinging gate as they'll line up and then go ahead and shift. Jackson Neeson, the kicker, lined up for the PAT attempt. It's up. Doesn't have a ton of leg, but it's got enough.
It's in.
And it gets through. So, we're at 8:39 left to go in quarter number 2. The Badin Rams off to a 7-3 lead, and we'll be right back.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
Well, no bands are here tonight, but that does not stop the Badin student section from singing the fight song anyway.
Absolutely. We've got the Badin drum line on the sidelines here.
And I don't think they're officially part of the Badin music department. I think they just brought their own drums to the game.
I believe you're correct, yes.
Badin Rams now have a 7-3 lead, and now it'll be Ross's turn to respond. Each team has had 2 possessions now.
That's correct.
A first possession ended in a 40-plus yard punt. A second possession ending in a scoring play. In Ross's case, it was a field goal. In Badin's case, it was a touchdown. Thus the difference, 7-3 margin now as Jackson Neeson tees it up at the 40-yard line to kick off to the Ross Rams. Line drive kick goes to Aiden Brown. He catches at the 7-yard line, runs from left to right. Trying to get a block. He's got one block, breaks the tackle. And finally tackled very close to the 40-yard line. A wonderful return for Aiden Brown. The tackle finally made by Eric Rawlings on the play for the Badin Rams. And I'm just noticing, actually, with Badin's jerseys here, we got almost a Tennessee Vols checkerboard pattern.
Oh, that's right. Right there
right
on
along
the
shoulder and also down the pant leg for the stripe. That's an interesting look that you don't see a whole lot.
It is a game of chess
It
against
is a game
an
of
old
chess.
adversary.
As old as time, dear Brother John. 1st and 10. Own 39-yard line. Handoff to the wide back, Aiden Brown on the jet sweep. He's got some positive yardage as he runs east-west and then tries to take it upfield. There is a flag behind the play. Or it might be a Ross towel. It's yellow. And if it was a flag, that was a smooth move by Riley Caldwell to pretend it was a towel and just tuck it into his little belt loop there. He's planning to call a penalty on a future play probably. 2nd down and 4. Excuse me, 2nd and 6. That was a 4-yard gain. Fake handoff to Caldwell. There's the pitch on the triple option. And that's Aiden Brown around the left end of the line. He's going to be very close to the sticks.
Very close indeed.
And this is going to be a 3rd down and 1 for Ross.
Good, tough running yardage.
I think that might be the first time we've seen the full triple option
Yes.
from Ross tonight.
Yes, they finally got the pitch in there.
And that may be open more as the game goes on. If Badin starts stacking up the interior of that line, you got to try to punch it outside and run to daylight, get to the edge. It'll be the cornerbacks having to funnel all that traffic back inside. 3rd and 1, this has got to be a fullback
that'll be
dive,
Ross
right?
pitching a fit.
And this is the fullback dive. Riley Caldwell punches it through. He's got enough yards. 1st down for the Ross Rams, and he's across midfield. Ross is going to have the ball 1st and 10 at the Badin 46-yard line. All of this TV coverage here, we have more TV cameras than any game I've ever seen. We've even got one behind the end zone that Ross is going toward to try to capture kicks, it looks like, on one of those elevated kind of crane type of things.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Pretty darn sweet. I wish we could get that feed. It's easier to tell, actually, from behind the goalpost than it is from up on top of the press box as to whether a field goal or extra point goes through. The play clock is running down. Ross does not have a play on. And Ross, I think, got stuck without having a play. Decided, you know what, we're not going to panic, but let's go ahead and take off all of the time off the clock that we can first before taking our timeout. This will be a timeout for Ross.
Stick to the game plan.
We will take it with him. It is 7-3 Badin here at Kumler Field.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
Yes, Ross definitely sticking to the game plan there, Biggie. They're trying to take every second off of this clock while they have the ball and keep Landon Viderick over there on the sidelines. First down and 10 for the Ross Rams. Ball is at the Badin 46-yard line. Very tight formation. Roll out toward the right. Frazeman never looked for the pitch, but the pitch wasn't there anyway. Tucks it up, salvages the best of a bad situation, and gets about a yard.
I think that's the best he could hope for.
Badin kind of had that one snuffed out.
Yes, they did.
That
Tackled by number 28, Eli Commons.
Eli Emmons. Eli Emmons. I taught him at St. Anne's back in the day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Eli and his brother Ethan. Good. They were wrestling family. So
Okay.
definitely. 2nd and 9 for the Ross Rams. They're at the 45-yard line. Flex bun formation. Aiden Brown goes in motion from right to left.
There's
Is
a
the pitch
pitch
on the triple option. There's a hit in the backfield. Kept. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my. Wow.
What a hit.
Oh.
Ah!
Does he remember what county he's in?
Nick Maricello. And that was one of those you were a little bit nervous for Aiden Brown there. He got
Yes,
to the
indeed.
edge, had a Badin guy wrapped around his feet, so he couldn't really go anywhere.
Yep. Held up at the ankles.
Held up at the ankles there,
just-
and then Maricello came in and just flat plastered him.
I know we don't believe in human sacrifice, but that's as close as we saw.
Wow. It was
Wow.
a big hit. Yes. The Aztec Empire would be proud. Indeed. Huitzilopocli is most pleased.
Yes.
3rd down and 14. Ball is at the 50-yard line here. We'll see how Ross wants to handle this. They've got a few different options. Do they want to throw it? Yordi doesn't like something he's seeing defensively, and he kind of runs out to the field, and he's going to go ahead and take a timeout. So this is going to be the second timeout of the first half for the Badin Rams. Well, Biggie, we got a chance right now. Do you want to, I know there's no easy way to break it to this, do you want to eulogize Blake Mulder a little bit?
Sure.
The Badin Rams lost a member of their family, one of your classmates, the 06.
One of my classmates. Actually, I knew Blake back in my St. Pete days. He actually came over and played for the CYO St. Pete Eagles on the basketball team that I was a part of. We were CYO champions that year. Classy guy, tough athlete, just a friendly personality.
He ended up playing some college football at Tiffin, I
Tiffin
believe.
University, yes.
So Blake Mulder was definitely a force to be reckoned with for the Badin Rams. And I guess it's just a reminder, you never know the day nor the hour. That was in that awful semi-truck accident with the steel coil.
Yes.
On US 127 that happened earlier this week. And could happen to anybody. Blake Mulder, we'll see you in heaven, buddy. A sack on the play as Frazeman did look to throw the ball, but there weren't a lot of great options there. It looked like Hunter Harrison and Logan New.
Yep.
Both back there. Dirk Allen's going to give New credit for the sack, and who am I to argue with Dirk Allen?
Of course. Hey-o.
Hey-o. 4th down and punting situation for Frazeman and the Ross Rams. Couple Badin Rams back deep. Left-footed punter. Boots it again directionally. Bounces the 25 to the 20. This one's going to actually get returned. Fielded on a hop by number 81, Eric Rawlings. And Rawlings gets about 6 yards on the return.
After taking a monstrous hit at the end of that.
Did you see which Ross player got him?
I didn't
catch the number either, but that was a sizable hit there for Ross in special teams. Eric Rawlings thought he was going to get that yards back from the bounce, and he got just that much and hitherto and no farther.
He got a bounce, but it wasn't the one he was looking for.
He got bounced.
He got bounced.
1st and 10, Badin Rams. Ball is at their own 27-yard line. Trips receivers to the left side. Look for a little quick screen here. Looks like there's 2.5 Ross defenders. And now only 2 on 3. This is the quick little hitch. Braden Moore. If he can break these 2 tackles, he's gone. He is not able to. Ross, very disciplined. Number 1 and number 2. That's easy enough to find on your roster, isn't it?
Jack Hansel and Aiden Brown.
It was a 2-on-3 situation. Badin went ahead to try to take advantage of it. The ball was caught on the quick little smoke screen. Hansel and Brown both broke off of their blocks and both met at the receiver.
They say, we see you through the smoke.
Oh, yes.
We will stop.
A 3-yard gain on the play. It is 2nd down and 7 for the Badin Rams. Well defended by Ross there.
Very well defended.
Roll out to the right. Viderick overthrows one man and bounces harmlessly incomplete. Eric Rawlings, the intended receiver. I think Viderick actually had Braden Moore in the flat there. Braden's holding up his hands as he goes back to the huddle like, man, you had me.
I'm right here.
I was open.
Throw to me.
That's one of those where Coach Jordy's going to look tomorrow or Monday in film study, and they're going to maybe circle Braden Moore on that route. The old spider, 36 wide banana route or whatever. They had the guy in the flat.
Oh,
Viderick looked for the second guy, overthrew him, and he's lucky that was not intercepted. 3rd down, fake handoff. Viderick's going to look to throw back to his to his running back. Jack Walsh drops the ball.
Monstrous hit by Aiden Brown.
Aiden Brown was there.
He was there.
That was a little wheel route for the running back on the play action.
With a little brick wall of a hit.
There was a throwing lane. Viderick threw it up. He did get it to land in between the safety and the linebacker. That's where you want to throw it.
Absolutely.
But Walsh heard those footsteps from Aiden Brown and did not end up possessing the football by the time that hit came to its culmination. 4th down and 7 for the Badin Rams. This is obvious punting situation. Landon Viderick blasts it through the air. Caught at the 30-yard line, out past the 35. The return for Ross by, looks like their fullback, Riley Caldwell, their second leading rusher on the season. They do love to give him the ball.
Carson Cheek in with the hit there at the initial stop. Got the shoestring and wouldn't let go.
Good place to be. Ross Rams going to take over. They're on their own half of midfield, but not by a whole lot. It's been a pretty evenly played game here, John.
I agree. Both defenses playing tough, not budging a whole lot.
There's not a lot to be had here.
No.
It's almost like these two teams know each other.
You could say that.
1st and 10 for the Ross Rams. Ball's at their own 36-yard line. Frazeman.
Do we get the pitch? There it is.
We got the pitch. He delayed the pitch to Caldwell. Caldwell, his tailback, actually followed him out to the short side of the field on the speed option there. Got the pitch, ends up taking it for about 8 yards.
Yeah, as he just manhandles Carson Cheek, just bowls him over and says, no, sir, I want a few extra yards.
The hits in this game have been hard.
They have been very hard.
These guys definitely won it. It's kind of a backyard rivalry there. And definitely the effort has been there for both defenses.
Absolutely.
2nd down, a long 2. Ross has the ball at their own 44-yard line, trying to get across midfield. 3.5 left to go in the second quarter. Frazeman keeps this one, again takes it to the short side, and a flag is thrown right at the line of scrimmage. Frazeman only picks up a yard or two. He only needed a yard or two. But the penalty, it looks like, is going to move Ross farther back unless this happens to be on Badin.
And a nice little tackle by Eli Emmons, just throwing Frazeman right out of bounds.
It is a face mask on Badin, so this is going to be enough for a Ross first down.
Oh, my.
I don't know if they were going to spot him with enough for the first anyway, but it's certainly going to be enough for the first now. Add 15 more yards to that bad boy. And Ross is now at the Badin 39-yard line. That's a very pleasant little gain there for the Ross Rams.
That is a nice little gain.
Costly face mask penalty there for the green and white. 1st and 10, 39-yard line. Ross Rams down. Getting close to 3 minutes left to go. They'd love to ideally score this and leave no time on the clock for Viderick. Toss sweep to the left. Aiden Brown, pre-snap motion, does get around toward the sideline and his run escorted out of bounds, but not until he picks up about 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, it was a good run. The initial guy tried to hit him. He just was able to step away from him and then got the extra yardage.
How about it?
How about it, indeed.
The forward progress spot was inbounds. That plays even more to Ross's advantage as they try to wind this clock down. Ross would love nothing more than to score here before they have. Badin gets the ball to start the third quarter. Don't forget about that.
Yes.
Brown goes in motion, handoff up the middle to Caldwell. Caldwell's going to punch it for about 3 yards. It's not going to be enough for a first down, but it's going to be getting close. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 are good situations for Ross's offense.
Yes, indeed.
If this game goes the way Ross wants it to go, 3rd and 1 is going to be very friendly to them.
Yes, indeed it is.
So here's a little bit of an I formation. First time we've seen this from Ross tonight. Fullback and a wide back right behind him. The handoff is, it's not a handoff, it's a pitch. The triple option goes to the outside. The pitch was made late to Jay Warren. He got enough for the first down and then some. And the Ross Rams are approaching the red zone with 2 minutes left to go in the second quarter, John.
Take away at the yardage, take away at the clock. Ross is playing their game right now.
Chomp, chomp, chomp. That's for you, Morgan. 1st and 10, Ross Rams. Ball's on the 24-yard line, just outside the red zone. And now we are below 2 minutes as the clock continues to run here in the second quarter. Handoff to the tailback in the I formation. This may be one of the more conventional-looking running plays you'll see out of the Ross Rams. That was Jay Warren, and Jay Warren did not get much.
And Eli Emmons just picked him up like a wrestler and said, no more. This is the line, you shall go no further.
Eli Emmons is having one heck of a second quarter.
He is.
We're calling his name a lot. 2nd down and 10. Ross now back in their flex bone formation with Caldwell behind Frazeman. Brown going in motion from right to left. It is a straight fullback dive to Caldwell to try to get about half of the yardage they need. They got about half of the yardage they need, and now they got to start worrying about the clock themselves because the clock is going to tick down below 1 minute.
TJ Hayes in on the stop there for Badin.
It's going to be 3rd down and 6 for the Ross Rams. They are at the 20-yard line. They are in no hurry right now. They do have 2 timeouts, but no need to take them unless you convert this first down.
In the shotgun.
Frazeman's going to try to run it, and there is absolutely
no room.
Nothing there as he tries a quarterback sweep from the shotgun around the left tackle and is met in the backfield by the Badin defensive line.
And the defense said, we'll sweep you the other way.
That's right. 4th down and 8. And Ross is going to let this clock run. Yordi has 1 timeout left. He is not interested in taking it right now.
Not at all.
Ross is probably going to let this play clock run down. Looks like they might not even have to call a play. They're going to call one, of course. They're going to take their timeout. But they're going to be able to choose when they want their timeout because the play clock and the game clock are dead even as they tick below 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. They've already told the referee when they want the timeout. There is the whistle.
2 seconds.
Exactly at 2 seconds. And Ross will take their timeout, so they're going to set up. I got to think this is going to be Sully Spencer, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
you take the 3, you're down by 1 point at half. Yes, Badin gets the ball, but you trust in your defense because they've been producing this first half.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Austin Pieper, if you're listening, this is how you win 9-7 in Madden. This is everything Ross could have wanted really out of the first half. They've not gotten a touchdown, but other than that, they in the fight for tempo, they are getting the lion's share of what they want.
Absolutely.
Badin is going to have the lead at halftime, most likely, unless it's a blocked field goal return of some sort. Spencer is going to kick this from 39 yards away on the left hash. This will be a tricky kick. Yordi is not going to take a timeout. It's up. It hits the left upright.
Wow.
And bounces outward. The field goal is no good. That hurts a little bit for Ross.
That does hurt.
And
they got the game plan they wanted. They ran the clock, but they just couldn't close out at the end.
You get everything you want except the points. And so we have reached halftime at Kumler Field. The Badin Rams 7, the Ross Rams 3.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Halftime at Kumler Field, a defensive struggle.
Very
Did
defensively.
we expect anything else, Biggie?
No, not at all.
Yordy's got to be taking his boys in the half saying, all right, we got the lead. we were the ones that did get a touchdown. And for Badin, this might be the best piece of news I could give them. They get the ball.
Yes,
to start
absolutely.
the third quarter.
And I got to believe that Coach Commons, he's going into the locker room saying, hey, we played our game. We played it to our tempo. Yes, we didn't close out, but we're within striking distance. This is still a wide open game. As you say in the Madden tournament, it's a very long game.
It is a long game, and Ross is trying to make it shorter as they keep chipping away at the clock. I've not seen the halftime stats yet, but I got to assume that Ross is having an enormous advantage in time of possession.
Absolutely.
Badin, they've actually thrown the ball every bit as much as they've run it.
Yeah, they spread it out pretty evenly between pass and rush, so I give them credit. They're playing a tough defense. They've been able to get some movement of the ball with that defense. So we'll see. Very long game.
You know, the interesting thing, I think of Mike Leach. Remember Mike Leach, the old Pirate, the college football coach who was at Texas Tech and then
Yes.
Washington State. I think he's at Mississippi State now.
Okay.
And when he was at Washington State, he was throwing the ball all over the field. That's that air raid offense. I'm
Yeah.
sure you're familiar with that. And at one point in time, somebody asked him about balance. 50% run, 50% pass, because his stats were so pass heavy.
Right.
And they were asking him about why his team was not more balanced offensively. And his response was, 50% pass and 50% run is 50% stupid.
If you're good at something, you go with it.
Well, and then he went on. I mean, obviously that's the quote that everybody hears and goes all over Twitter, and it's hilarious. And Dan Levitard's show is taking it and doing all kinds of wonderful spoof things with it on
Sure.
the radio.
Yeah.
But beyond that saying, Mike Leach then went on to clarify, and he said he's got 5 skill position players besides the quarterback. So really, if you want balance, rather than 50% to your running back and the other 50% divided up amongst your wide receivers, don't you want 20% divided up amongst all 5 of your skill players that could possibly have the ball? That was balance in his eyes.
Of course.
Badin is not throwing it as much as Washington State or now Mississippi State might do with Mike Leach, but it is more than we expected to see.
Absolutely. Both teams were coming out. They're very much run-heavy teams, but with Badin, we've seen a little bit more of that pass balance. It's been a surprise. Some of them have succeeded, some of them not quite so much, but they are throwing it a lot more than we expected.
As for Ross, they're sticking to the running game. It's working-ish.
Ish, yes.
Ish. They've only got 3 points on the board. It's working in terms of it keeps Badin at 7. It keeps the clock dwindling down. Badin only had 3 possessions in that entire first half. 2 punts and the touchdown.
Well, and I think looking at this game, we got to give credit again to both defenses. The defenses are playing with, as Deadpool would say, maximum effort.
No doubt about it. All right, you want to look a little playoffs?
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
Let's
All
take
right.
a look.
Let's start in Division 1. Start with the big boys. So this is Division 1 Region 4. This is where all the GMC schools are other than Middletown. As you notice, St. Xavier and Moeller are 1 and 2. That has flipped from last night. The Moeller Crusaders had a very small margin over the St. Xavier Bombers coming into last night's head-to-head matchup where St. X absolutely trounced them in Nippert Stadium. So St. Xavier now pulls well ahead with a large gap in between first and second place there. Moeller still has a nice sizable lead over third place Milford, and that's where the bottleneck starts getting tight there. So are you familiar, Biggie, with how these high school playoff points work at all? Or is
No.
this the first time you're seeing some of
No,
this?
go ahead.
Okay.
Let's talk
So
about
you'll
it.
see there's a level 1 column and then G for games played. There's a level 2 and a level 2 divisor. Here's what this means. Your playoff points are adding up 2 different averages.
Okay.
Okay? So level 1 is the size of the schools that you beat.
Okay.
You get 6.5 points for beating a Division I school.
I
So
see.
if Badin or Ross were to schedule Hamilton High School and beat Big Blue, they would get 6.5 first level points.
Okay.
Okay? 6 for a Division II, and then it goes
Okay.
5.5 for the Badin and Ross's sides, Division
Sure.
3. 5, 4.5, 4, and if you were to schedule New Miami, it'd be 3.5. That's your Division 7 size schools. So you add all of those up. Obviously, you want to get as many as you can for first level points, and you divide it by the number of games that are played. So it's an average.
Sure.
So the most you can possibly end up with if you go 10-0 and beat all Division I teams, you'll still end up getting 6.5 because it'd be 65 divided by 10.
Right.
Okay? The second level points, and you see the numbers are already starting to get bigger over there.
Yes.
Second level points is much more important than first level points. That is all of the first level points of all of the teams that you beat get lumped into your second level column,
Sure.
like second derivative for calculus or whatever, but this is really only algebra.
Right.
So, for example, St. Xavier next week plays Elder. Okay? Elder has only won 1 game. They beat Covington Catholic in Kentucky, who's a Division II equivalent. So if they beat Elder, they get 6.5 first level points because they beat a Division I school. They would only get 6 second level points because Elder has only beaten 1 team.
1 team.
But if you beat a better team like Elder, they play St. Xavier. If you look down there at the 12 line there, St. X's was worth 26 points going into this weekend. That number is actually going to change when I edit this over the week. It's now going to be 32.5. That's why if Elder can beat St. X, you're going to see Elder go flying up the board because they're going to have 32.5 more points. And then Elder follows that up by playing Moeller and then Indianapolis Roncalli. The Elder Panthers have a very tough schedule indeed
they
coming
do.
up. Top 16 make the playoffs. There's only 17 teams in this region. Lebanon and Oak Hills, we're looking at you. Neither one of you has won a game yet. One of you is getting into the playoffs. Who's going to win one? I don't know.
I don't know.
It is possible that an 0-10 team could get in. If we go to like the 8th tiebreaker or something crazy like that, Joe Idle and I were chatting about that earlier this week. It would probably go down to the strength of schedule in terms of number of victories that the teams that you lost to played.
How many variations can we go?
Well, and in this case, given that Lebanon had a COVID cancellation in week 1, that might be advantage Oak Hills because they got another opponent to add victories.
That's true. Oh, my goodness.
0-10 is better than 0-9 because you played 10 games.
That's right.
My goodness. Looking at Lakota East, Lakota West, they are tied at 5th right now. Their numbers are exactly identical. They play each other in week 10, so that'll solve some of that as they continue to go. Coleraine Cardinals, they started off with 2 losses to the GCL South. LaSalle beat them. St. Xavier beat them. They're now 3-0 against JMC competition as they pick themselves back up out of the grave. Hamilton Big Blue, they had the 2-week COVID cancellation in there after beating West Claremont. They've now gotten swept by the 2 Lakotas. And so Hamilton has Fairfield and Oak Hills the next 2 weeks. 2 games that they're hoping they could maybe get some wins and start bumping their way up the standings a little bit. Fairfield has Hamilton next week. Speaking of Middletown also is Division I, but they got flexed up into the Toledo region. You know a little bit about Toledo, don't you?
I do, having been a former Rocket graduate myself. Yes, I do.
How is Toledo and the other Rams doing tonight? Have you seen?
Yes, Toledo at the end of the 3rd.
They're playing Colorado State.
Yes, they were down. I believe the score was 13-6. Let's do a real quick check on that. See how the Rockets did to end the night.
Gotta love Toledo football coverage from Biggie John Williams here as he pulls out his phone and tries to find the Toledo Rockets.
And it looks like the Colorado State Rams decided to just murder them in the last quarter. The 22-6. The Colorado State Rams just roll on over the Rockets.
That is Colorado State's first win of the year. They lost last week to Vanderbilt and lost to an FCS opponent, South Dakota State, the week before that. How does that make you feel going from should have beat Notre Dame to losing at home to Colorado State?
Just fills me with all kinds of ooey gooey tingly feelings. No.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, what a not showing of Toledo, having played a great game last week against Notre Dame, almost pulling up the upset.
I'm told if they would have played clock management for the field goal rather than punching the ball into the end zone and giving Notre Dame the ball back, they actually would have had even a better chance to pull that out. That's what Mike Ryan Ruiz was saying on the Le Batard podcast earlier this week. I didn't see the game, of course, because it was on the Peacock Network, and I'm not going to pay money to watch football when I could go ahead and...
You got to love the clock management or lack thereof. It can make or break you.
The Middletown Middies here. They are the only team in this Toledo and Dayton-centric region. They also do not have a win. Beaver Creek and Toledo Start also do not have wins. And one of those three winless teams is going to get into the playoffs. Everybody else has at least 2 wins in this region. It'll be an interesting dogfight to see Middletown and Oak Hills play each other in Week 9.
And it will.
That may punch a playoff berth for one of the two and send the other one home. We don't know. Toledo Start, we'll have to keep an eye on them because they have 3 winless teams in their next 4 games. They got Toledo Woodward, Toledo Waite, and Toledo Bousher. 3 of their next 4 games. If Start can win 2 of those, Middletown may have some real issues trying to get into the playoffs. Region 8. This is the Division II schools. So this is where Edgewood and Talawanda lie. The Edgewood Cougars are there at 12th right now. They got another win last night after beating Fenwick last week on the Butler County High School Sports Report radio broadcast. They had the Wilmington Hurricane come in here to Cooma. That's why this game is Saturday instead of Friday, because Edgewood was here themselves playing last night. Wilmington was, a replacement schedule because Edgewood was supposed to play CJ. But CJ had been paused due to COVID. So Edgewood playing matchmaker online finds Wilmington and swipes left and ends up. Is that what they do?
I believe
is it swipe
so.
left or is it swipe right?
I believe it's swipe right if you want and swipe left if you don't.
Swipe left if you don't. Okay, so Edgewood swiped right then.
Yes.
To get Wilmington. See, I'm learning something because A, I've not been on a date since my 29th birthday, and B, I don't have a smartphone, so I know nothing whatsoever about Tinder. My idea of speed dating, whatever, was the Whose Line Is It Anyway Bachelor game. Bachelor number 1. You know?
Right.
If you were a burger and fries, what company would you be from? The Edgewood Cougars with their second win now over Wilmington. And by the way, margin of victory does not matter.
Okay.
It's just straight win or straight loss.
Okay.
So if you want to go ahead and run up the score like Bethel Tate did last night, 82-0 over Batavia, it's still just a win over Batavia. You don't get anything extra from that.
Great job, guys. We won.
We won, exactly. And for Badin and Ross with a 7-3 score right now, and who knows how low the final score is going to be and how close it's going to be, it doesn't matter. All that matters is who gets the W at the end of the game, and that'll determine the number 1 seed as of right now. Badin and Ross student sections are doing tug of war right now at midfield, and I think the Farmers absolutely dominated the Whiteouters.
I believe you're right.
Edgewood is now 12th. They're right on nipping on the heels of Tecumseh. They play Mount Healthy next week. Mount Healthy won their game, so that 16 points is actually going to end up being worth 21.5 because Mount Healthy got their win over Fenwick, a Division III size school, so we'll have to add more points in there next week as we rearrange the board and get it ready. The Talawanda Brave. They had lost their first 3 and then had a COVID cancellation. They beat the Carroll Patriots last night, and that's a big win for Talawanda, trying to get themselves up there. A lot harder to get to the top 16 when you got 25 teams in your region.
That is true.
And so a lot more teams in this region are not going to make the playoffs than the Division I regions we looked at. Talawanda now climbed up to 19th. They should not have too much of a problem passing Briggs if they can beat Harrison next week. Edgewood is now going to be a 2-win team, so Edgewood will now be worth 11 instead of 5.5. But Talawanda really needs one more win to be even in the conversation. They need to be nipping at Little Miami and Sydney there if they can try to catch anybody in the top 16. For Edgewood, if you look at who's number 1 right now in this region, the LaSalle Lancers, not only do you want to make the playoffs if you're Edgewood, you would like to avoid the 15 and 16 spot.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to play Kings and you don't want to play LaSalle.
No.
And LaSalle just beat a previously 4-0 DuPont Manual of Kentucky. So LaSalle was second. They've jumped up to first now. 24 second-level points for beating DuPont Manual. The schedule doesn't get any easier for LaSalle. They play 4-1 Moeller next week, followed by 5-0 Indianapolis Cathedral, followed by 5-0 St. Xavier. So LaSalle, if they run the table on those next 3 games, they're going to be in position to possibly clinch the number 1 seed maybe by week 9. I mean, the amount of points that they're going to be able to generate. If you look at LaSalle and Kings there, 22.5 for Moeller. That's going to be 30 next week for Indianapolis Cathedral. St. X, that's going to be 32.5 next week. And then look who's below, who Kings is playing at the same time. 0-win Lebanon, 1-win West Claremont, 1-win Loveland. So separation, if LaSalle can win 2 of those 3 games.
Absolutely.
They're going to separate themselves out from Kings there. Division 3, Region 12. This is the one that our listeners for this game probably care most about because this is where Badin and Ross sit atop 1 and 2, and it's actually a 1-2-3 punch of Butler County here because the Monroe Hornets are a razor-thin margin behind Ross. So much so that if Badin were to win this game tonight, Ross is actually going to duck behind Monroe, and Monroe is going to be the number 2 spot, even though Ross beat Monroe.
And I can imagine the Maroon coaches are watching this game very closely.
Certainly, I mean, obviously, the nice thing about being 1-2-3 Butler County is the home games are all going to be here. Kumler, Robinson, Hornets Nest, you know, all of the teams from up in the very northern area of this region, the Western Buckeye League, are going to be taking long bus rides week in and week out to get here to play all of our Butler County teams. Ross is worth 16 second-level points to the Badin Rams. After that, the well is going to run dry for Badin for a little bit. Carroll, Alter, CJ, and Fenwick have not held up their end of the bargain.
They have not.
Not at all. Carroll has not won a game since week 1. Alter got a win on a last-second field goal last night over the Northwest Knights, so they're going to be worth 10.5 points next week when Badin gets them in week 7. CJ has not played a game in 2 weeks due to COVID. Fenwick won their first 2 games. Then their running back got a knee injury, and Fenwick is really limping at this point in time. Mount Healthy beat them up last night. And it may come down to Badin and McNicholas in week 10. McNick is 5-0. So McNick's 20.5 points. They beat Roger Bacon last night, so that's going to end up being 25 points when we reset the board for next week. Badin, McNick, the whole GCL co-ed very well may end up riding on that week 10 game.
Absolutely.
You know, had the other GCL co-ed teams done more, Badin could look at if they beat Ross tonight, and that is far from a guarantee.
That's true.
They would be looking at potentially wrapping up the number 1 seed before the week 10 game, but if McNick eats up all those points, Badin may not end up having that locked. They may have to beat McNick to get it. We'll see how that ball plays out. The Ross Rams are sitting there at second. They will just barely hurdle Badin if they win tonight. It's going to be a razor-thin margin, similar to the margin between Ross and Monroe right now. But Ross will have enough points to just barely nick past Badin if they win this game tonight. They go into conference play. So the teams that were, you know, Alter Northwest, with Alter winning, that actually favors Badin and not Ross. Even though Badin's going to play both of them, Ross is only playing Northwest this year.
Well, and I think this game goes down to the keys that both coaches talked about before the game. Let's get the win.
Let's get the win. That's right. That's right. The Talawanda-Carroll score, obviously, that's one that favors Ross.
Yes.
Because Talawanda is on Ross's schedule. Talawanda is going to be now worth 5.5 points when Ross sees them in week 7. Maybe more if Talawanda wins next week. Looking at Region 16, this is the Division 4 teams. Nothing really local there. McNicholas is number 3 right now. That's the GCL co-ed counterpart for Badin there. McNick is 5-0. And they're looking at the same thing Badin's looking at, which is 4 straight GCL co-ed teams that have not been winning games going, guys, you're not helping us.
Yeah. Throw us a bone here at least.
Yeah, throw us a bone here. We have 5 weeks of non-conference play. Why can't you win your fair share of games, guys? We're counting on you. And it's been kind of lackluster for the GCL co-ed other than Badin and McNeck.
It has. This is not what they were looking for.
This is not at all what they were looking for. Eaton Eagles at number 1 right now. This is the best year Eaton's had in a long time. Region 20, this is the Division 5 schools. Our one Butler County team down here is the Madison Mohawks. They are tied in the winless troop down there at the bottom. All in a 5-way tie for 22nd place. If you look at Madison's schedule, Eaton is their next opponent. That's not going to be good for them. Bellbrook, who is 4th right now in our region of Region 12, that's not going to be good for Madison. This is not a good-looking board for the Madison Mohawks.
It is not.
As they try to get their stuff together this year. Region 28, this is New Miami. 28 teams in this region. Top 16 make it in. New Miami did get 1 win last week against Hilltop. And so New Miami is not tied in the coalition of the depraved at the bottom. New Miami is tied for 19th with Ridgemont right now. And New Miami has an opportunity next week. They're playing winless Clark Montessori. That'll give them at least a few more first-level points. No second-level points, but something.
Something's better than nothing.
You're probably going to need to win 2 or 3 more games for New Miami. They've got some teams there. CCD might be hard, but Miami Valley Christian's a 2-win team. St. Bernard Elmwood Place has not won a game yet. And Laughlin in Week 10, that's a 1-win team. So Andy Stuckert's New Miami Vikings, they might have a shot as well.
They could.
They got to catch a little bit of hot streak, though, because as of right now, they're sitting on the outside looking in and have not really done much to change that. Going to see if I can get you one more score here before we head to a quick commercial break here. Hughes and the Purcell Mary Cavaliers were playing earlier tonight. Still nothing retweeted since the halftime score of Big Red Hughes 24 and Purcell Marion 13. And you see there in this graphic, there are a few of these white spots that are the Saturday games that have not been decided yet. So we'll be right back after this quick break. 7-3 Badin at the half.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
And we are back here at Kumler Field ready for the kickoff of half number 2. Ross kicking it deep to Badin. Ball goes back toward the goal line, and Braden Moore actually steps on the goal line as he takes possession of this kickoff. That is an automatic whistle for an automatic touchback. Well, Ross got everything they wanted out of the first half, John, but now Badin has the ball with a 4-point lead.
And again, this is all going to be about tempo. So if Badin can come down, bleed some clock, but get the score, they're going to be well in command of this game.
Ross does not want to have to throw the football.
They really do not.
They really don't want to throw. They really want to win.
They really want to win.
They don't really want to throw.
No.
And so if Badin can go up by 2 scores here, that's a big, huge thing. This is the first time they've had the lead in the ball all game long. I take that back. They had one possession where they had to punt, but they had the lead in the ball. Jack Walsh gets the first handoff for Badin.
Tackle by Josh Botts.
Botts comes up with the stop. We've called his name a lot. Ross, they've been very sure-handed in tackling these Badin Rams tonight.
Even when Badin gets the ball, they get a hold, they wrap them up.
2nd down and 7 for the Rams. Shotgun Viderick is going to roll it to the long side of the field. Looking long. He's got a man. It's complete across the 40-yard line for a first down. Looking to see who caught that ball. Looks like the pass is complete to... Oh, there's a flag. This long pass play is not going to stand.
No, it is not.
The penalty is on Badin, and Badin, this is one of those that potentially could be what they know as a drive killer.
Yes. I think that's about the best Ross could hope for on that.
Oh, my gosh. Second down and astronomically long now for the Badin Rams. 2nd and 20. And, again, if you're Ross, if you want to set up how the second half wants to start out, this is what you want, right?
Absolutely.
4 wide receiver formation with Jack Walsh in the backfield alongside of Fiderick. Fiderick's going to try a little hitch. And now he's going to run. He's running out of room. He's going to get a gain of maybe a yard or so before he is escorted out of bounds by Brendan Severe.
And we've called his name a few times tonight as
well. Oh, my gosh. He's been everywhere. Now a 3rd down and 19. And unless Badin can pull a rabbit out of their hat, Ross can expect a punt after this play and some pretty darn good field position.
Yeah, it's going to be good for Ross.
That holding penalty changed everything.
It definitely changed the dynamic of this drive.
Because Badin was going to have a first down out past the 40-yard line, but now buried deep, and Ross's defense ready to pin their ears back. 5 wide receiver formation. Jet sweep touch pass, Jack Walsh going around from left to right, going east to west, now finally turns it north and south, and there is nothing for him there.
No hole.
Ross Rams defense say, thank you, sir, may I have another? We'll take that ball. 4th down and 16, as we'll give Walsh credit for maybe a yard on that pass completion, and that is a completed pass.
And we'll see
famous by Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, the little touch pass forward.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
We'll see how good Viderick's leg is on this.
Almost blocked.
Very
Ross
close.
had the jailbreak on a little bit there. Over the head. Oh, my gosh. That ball is going to bounce and roll and roll and roll inside the 20, inside the 15-yard line.
Viderick the hero.
That is a 62-yard punt.
Viderick the hero on that drive with the punt.
Are you kidding me? Well, Ross, we thought you were going to have good field position. You're starting at your own 14-yard line. After that touch and roll, it went over the head of the deep man and just started darting backwards back toward the north goal line. Ross, they got the stop they wanted defensively.
Yes, indeed.
They did not get the field position that they deserved.
They did not. And Badin says, you can have it, and good luck.
Out comes the triple option offense. I think we got a TV timeout now, because we've got all of the different TV crews here tonight. Got to have our commercial breaks. Kind of wonder in some way why Friday night has not been something like that, where more WKRC or Channel 19, Channel 5 would send a crew out to pick a high school game. St. X and Moeller would have been a good one this weekend.
Absolutely.
Put it on your air on a Friday night. You're missing a golden opportunity, I think. High school football, man.
But programs are important, right?
Got to play a rerun of Seinfeld, right?
Of course.
That's right. Now, the argument, the counter-argument may be that they don't want to give people incentive to not go to the game.
Right.
But it's a bonanza waiting to happen. High school football on television. It should be a thing. Handoff on the jet sweep to the wide back, and 2 flags thrown. This is not going to end well for Ross. The handoff was to Jay Warren. They got about 7 yards on that, and they're both moving the flags, and they're stacking them on top of each other, which means this is going to be 1 foul that was seen by both officials.
Carson Cheek in on the head.
This looks like a chop block of some sort at the 17 or 18-yard line, which would be half the distance from there. So at least the foul happened 4 yards upfield. You're not going to have a 10-yard penalty on this thing.
Right.
But they're going to be back at the 9-yard line now.
Ross still in tough field position.
Yeah, that punt, 62-yard punt from Landon Viderick was enormous.
It was.
Ball at the 9. First down. Dirk just said 1st and 23. I don't think that's right. 1st and 16, we're going to call it. And Fraisman keeps the ball, did not hand it off to his fullback. And both Caldwell and Frazeman got popped in the mouth by the interior defensive line. I don't think they really cared which one of those guys had the ball.
No.
Just tackle them both, and you got the right one, right?
Absolutely. That's the way it works.
It's like playing the Skyline Chili game at Great American Ballpark and picking all of the numbers.
Yes.
You're going to win. Second down after a no gain. 2nd and 16 for the Ross Rams. Extremely tight formation, only one wide receiver. Aiden Brown goes in motion from right to left. Frazeman counters it, going around to the right. Badin tries to strip him at the end of the play, but the line judge comes in, pointing to the ground, saying he was already down. That hit there at the end of the play was Jackson Martin trying to dislodge the ball. It's going to be a 3rd down and long, and Ross's offense is not built for this situation, John.
They are not.
What do you call here if you're the Ross Rams? If you're playing with them in Madden right now, what do you call?
I think if I'm then, I gotta go pass. I gotta get some yardage up the field. I gotta get some space.
Looks like they got 3 receivers out to the left side of the formation, 3 Badin Rams on defense there. And it is this little smoke pattern. And it's caught.
There it is.
1 tackle broken. Trying to come back. Badin defense swarms on him, and he's not going to have enough for the first down. The catch was made by Jay Warren out there in space. It was a 3-on-3 instead of the 3-on-2 we saw earlier from Badin.
Right.
And Badin's defense, give them credit. They had to run a long way to rally him.
They did, but they rallied, and they got him down.
Because I don't think the 3 guys that were out there in space, I don't think any of them actually made the tackle. I think it was guys from inside the formation that got all the way out there.
I believe you're right.
They got it to the 20-yard line. Frazeman's going to punt
Nice
left-footed. Across midfield, it's going to be fielded at the 46-yard line. And now across midfield, and we got some blocking. The wedge is there. He punches it loose. This is Eric Rawlings. And Rawlings into the red zone for the Rams, the Badin Rams. And that was the punt return they were looking for.
Yes, indeed.
Rawlings caught that ball at his own 46-yard line. He sprinted straight for the Badin sideline, running a little bit east-west, a little bit diagonally, and cut that thing up. So we're going to have a 1st down and 10. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. And so a timeout looks like it's being taken. It's an official's timeout. And it looks like the referee is going over to Coach Yordy. This might be a clock situation. The referee with the white hat tells Yordy something, who whispers something over to Jeff Melzer, the AD, who speaks something into a walkie-talkie, which probably takes it up to the press box. And now we've reset the clock to 7 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. It is a stopped clock. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line, the longest possible 1st and goal for the Rams. Handoff to Jack Walsh. He's running up the middle. He gets about 9 yards of the 10 that he needs, and Badin is very much in business here. That punt return, put a big old circle by that one on the play sheet, or a big old star by that one. That was an enormous play for Eric Rawlings. It's not going to go down as a scoring play in the box score, but it totally flipped the field position after Viderick's 62-yard punt and then Badin's big punt return. Jack Walsh punches it up the middle for a 1-yard touchdown run. And when you give the field position like that, Biggie, when you give the field position to Badin, you're asking for trouble.
Absolutely.
You only have to go 10 yards as an offense. And the Badin Rams are now up by the 2 scores that Coach Commons kind of dreaded. He definitely wanted to keep this a 1-score game if at all possible when we talked to him before the game.
And the road gets a little harder for Ross.
Now they're going to have to throw the ball just a little bit more, right?
Absolutely.
So the score, the Badin Rams 14 with the extra point good. Ross Rams 3. We'll be right back on the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
Well, it took 2.5 quarters for the Badin Rams to get that 2-score lead that they wanted and that Ross wanted to avoid. Now what does Ross do? Do you panic right away, or is this more of a got to keep control of your game and suck this thing out
If
for
I
a
were
while?
Ross, I wouldn't panic now. Just keep playing your game. If you can bleed off enough clock in the third quarter and get the score, you're very much in it for the fourth, and I say don't panic yet.
That's always the small thing when you're trying, when you're the team that does the running offense and you're down by 2 scores. How much time do you want to take? How quickly do you want to move? You definitely start getting a little less comfortable.
Absolutely.
In the game. Neeson, a squib kick to the up man at the 21-yard line. Ball's being returned, it looks like, by Brendan Sevier. Sevier takes it across the 30. And that is actually just short of the 30. He gets stepped out of bounds there. And we'll see where the referees spot this. They might actually spot it. I might be wrong both times. It might be right at the 30.
Right on the line, it looks like.
You're wrong both ways, Sack. 1st and 10 for the Ross Rams. Critical drive, down by 11. 7:04 left to go in the third quarter. It is certainly not over yet. But they're going to need some points. And honestly, that field goal right before halftime that hit the upright, it could just as easily be 14-6 right now.
That's correct.
Which would make Ross feel a lot more comfortable in this game if indeed it was.
Yes, and I believe right now that's the difference maker.
The field goal miss, the 62-yard punt.
Yes.
And then the 40, almost 50-yard punt return by Rawlings. Fraisman keeps the ball on the option, going around the left side, and he is flung backwards by Caden Starks.
Like a good Hulk man, he just flings them back.
That big old Hulk wearing all that green.
Don't make him angry. You don't want to see him when he's angry.
It was an impressive tackle, but only a loss of 1. A nice forward progress spot given to Braden Fraisman.
Yes, indeed.
On the play there. 2nd down and 11 for Ross. Man goes in motion. It is a handoff, a dive to the fullback, right at the middle, Riley Caldwell. Very slippery run. He broke about 5 tackles
he
there,
did.
John.
Wow.
And that's going to be enough for a 1st down as Badin Rams try to figure out if he's got Crisco on his jersey.
Caden Starks in on the tackle, the final man to bring him down. Woo.
I mean, that was between the tackles, impressive run. 1st and 10 for the Ross Rams. Ball is at their own 40-yard line, approaching midfield. 6 minutes left to go. Toss sweep left to Aiden Brown. Tucks it up. He's got room. Can he beat the last 2 Badin Rams? He's across the 30 into the red zone. Jukes one of them out and is guided out of bounds finally by Braden Moore. Biggest offensive play of the game for the Ross Rams, and Ross is in business.
Absolutely, and I got to tell you, that was a great stop and go by the runner.
Oh, my gosh. Toss sweep. The wide back went in motion from right to left, free snap. You hit him in motion. And you're right, he hesitated a little bit, and then
yep,
he took off. Ross has got a 1st and 10. Ball is at the 15-yard line going in. This is a very important drive for Ross. Fraisman fumbles the ball, falls on top of it. Poor exchange between center and quarterback. Doesn't cost him but a yard and a down. It's going to be 2nd down and 11 now for the Ross Rams. They are in field goal range. I know they got to be thinking touchdown, though.
Absolutely. At this
Field goal would make it 8.
Yes.
But you really want to get into the end zone here if you're Ross.
Yes.
That puts a lot of pressure on Badin then the next time they get the ball.
And, you know, just as equally, the Ross defense has been playing well, so if they can get the score here, I believe in the defense.
Ross ran an I formation. They were Fraisman kind of ran an option with the fullback and tucked it himself at the mesh port, took off, got about 3 yards on the carry. That's going to set up a 3rd down and 8 now for Ross. They're at the 13-yard line. Badin's defense, what are you preparing for? A throw? Or a toss sweep, maybe?
I got to think throw at this point.
Wide back, Aiden Brown goes out into the slot now. Pre-snap motion. And a flag. And they got the Badin Rams to flinch. That is no small thing.
No.
It was 3rd and 8. Your offense is not all that well equipped for 3rd and 8. 3rd and 3 sound a little better? Yes.
I think that opens up a few more plays in their playbook now.
That was very nice pre-snap motion there by Ross to get an over-aggressive Badin defensive line to jump into the neutral zone there. And that play, in high school football, that is typically called dead. You don't see 3 plays.
Absolutely.
Like
and the Ross student section cheering, you can't do that.
Yeah. I formation. Caldwell and Warren. Behind Frazeman, who's going to play action and throw it to the end zone. He's got a man. It is caught. It is a touchdown
What
for
a throw.
Ross.
It was a nice lead pass, and he hit his man right on the spot.
Trying to see who caught the ball. Looks like that's number 43, Ryan Imes with the catch. The tight end coming across the formation from the left side, going the back of the end zone route. And a wonderful 8-yard touchdown pass from Frazeman.
Looks like a nice little Antonio Gates running route.
Oh, my gosh. That was beautiful. Ross says we can throw, and we will. Extra point coming up. It's down, and Sully Spencer hits it through. So, don't go anywhere, folks. We still have a very much alive ball game as Ross answers Badin's touchdown. 4:20 left to go in the 3rd quarter here at Kumler Field. It's the Badin Rams 14, the Ross Rams 10. You're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
John, you looked over at me right when we went to commercial and said, that was quick.
That was so quick. I couldn't believe just the lack of time that they took off the clock. They'd scored so quick. If you're Badin, you got to love this because you got more time on the clock.
Well, if you're Ross, you'd like to have a good situation. A long kickoff return now for Braden Moore. He's got some blocking, and he's got a flag, so one of those blocks was illegal. At least one of the Badin coaches is not all that thrilled about that particular flag, but it's going to be called on the Badin Rams, and this is going to halt their field position just a little bit.
Carson Adams on the final stop of the guy out of bounds. However, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, Badin is going to start out. We'll see where they spot this. This is going to be called a hold. And so we'll see how far back they put the Badin Rams. Ball back to the 28, it looks like. And so Badin starting deep enough inside their own their own territory. It's not going to be great field position for the Badin Rams. Shotgun formation. Walsh, the running back, next to Viderick. And now Ross gets a little flinchy. But it's actually Badin that jumped first. That caused Ross to jump into the neutral zone. And so this is going to back the Badin Rams up 5 more yards. Ross hanging around, John.
And if you're Ross, you're loving the momentum shift at this point. You got the quick score. Now you've backed Badin up in closer toward their own end zone. So you got to love the momentum right now. It's working very much in the Ross Rams' favor.
Yes, very, very much what the Ross Rams want to see here in this game. Up the middle to Jack Walsh. They're now at the 30-yard line. Modest gain there on first down. Gets all the penalty yardage back, plus a little extra.
Tackled by Jack Hansel.
Jack Hansel with the glorious hair. And it is a 2nd down and 8 for Badin, as they try to answer to the answer, so to speak. We're down below 3.5 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter now. 3-step drop from Viderick. Tries to hit Braden Moore on the little out route, but the ball is thrown about 4 yards short of his feet. That's not going to do anything.
That's going nowhere.
So it is third down. 3rd and 8. We'll see what kind of play call Coach Jordy and the offensive coordinator for Badin want to call up there.
And as the Ross fans chant, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, Landon Viderick, not one of his better throws on that one, but hey, if you're going to throw a bad lift throw into the dirt, it's a lot better than an interception.
Absolutely.
Viderick rolls out right. He's got blocking. He's going to throw it sidearmed, and a diving play by Brandon Sevier. That might have been enough for a first down had Badin been able to catch that ball, but Sevier comes out of nowhere, full extension dive to knock that ball down.
Well, the quarterback's reading the receiver the whole time. The defender says, I see where your eyes are going. I'm going to go there too.
All right. Great play by Sevier.
Absolutely.
And Badin is going to have to punt. Ross is going to get the ball back. 4-point margin. Coach Kenyon Cummins has to love the way this is turning out so far.
Absolutely. Stick to the game plan, and so far, it's working.
That's it. Viderick's punt is tipped. I can hear a double tip, but it's going to get a very friendly roll and continue to roll across the 40, across the 35-yard line. You believe that? A tip punt still ends up going about 40 yards. You know, if Landon Viderick, the quarterback, is not the MVP of this game, maybe Landon Viderick, the punter. Because punters' lives matter.
Absolutely. He's got my vote.
Ross is going to start the ball, and it looks like after all of the roll, they're going to mark it all the way back at the 30-yard line.
Okay.
So Ross now has it and a chance to take the lead. But they got to go 70 yards in order to do it.
And if I'm Ross, I'm trying to bleed this all the way to the 4th.
Oh, yeah. Well, and now the clock becomes much less of a factor.
Absolutely. The clock is your friend right now.
You're within one score. You're within one score. Fraisman leads them out in a very tight flex bone. Handoff goes to Caldwell, the fullback. He spins around. That was going to be a gain of about 1. He spun off a guy, found a seam up the middle, and got about 10.
Well, and that was a great spin move. That was a great spin move to get the extra yardage.
It's not fancy, but it works.
It's methodical.
A fullback dive right up the middle.
Absolutely.
Telling Badin, why don't you stop us? And they weren't fooling anybody there. All of their formation was there within the tackle box.
That's right.
1st and 10. Ross Rams fumble, bad snap. Fraisman, I think he fell on top of it, and he did. That's the second such exchange we've seen in as many drives for Ross.
Oh, my.
Oh, yes. Down below 2.5 left to go in the third quarter from Kumler Field.
Do you think the Crisco transferred from the running back to his hands now?
Oh, boy. Yeah, you almost wonder if there's something going on there with the sweat or the humidity or something. That's 2 of those quarterback center exchanges now that have hit the turf. 2nd down and 10. Ross's ball, own 41-yard line. Fake fullback dive. This is a pitch to Jay Warren. Stretched out. Breaks 3 different tackles and still is wrapped up in the backfield by a swarming Badin defense.
What a great job by the defense.
I mean, the fullback got hit. Fraisman read that correctly, kept the ball. Fraisman got walloped and got the pitch off in time.
Yes.
It was the full triple option there, and Jay Warren kept going east-west, broke 3 different Badin tacklers, and still couldn't find his way north-south. It's a loss of 6 yards on the play.
That's because the Badin Rams defense was going the north-south route.
Oh, yeah. 3rd down and 16 now for the Ross Rams. We'll see what they have in their playbook for this. This is, again, one of the more uncomfortable play-calling situations for Ross. But Fraisman does have an arm.
He does.
And Ross is going to go ahead and talk about this. They're going to go ahead. And once again, I love Coach Cummins' clock management. If we're going to take a timeout, we might as well drain the play clock all the way down before we take it.
Absolutely.
So we'll take it with them. Minute 13 left to go in the third quarter. Badin 14, Ross 10.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
And the other game we're keeping an eye on tonight, no score in the third quarter. So Big Red Hughes still leads the Purcell Marion Cavaliers by a score of 24-13. They are now entering the fourth quarter of that game down in Cincinnati.
Oh, my.
Purcell Marion, Division V school, they are not on Badin's schedule anymore, so that is not a team that can give them anything. But Hughes is currently sitting at 12th place right now in Badin, Ross, and Monroe's region, Division III, Region 12. Third down and 16 for the Ross Rams. Tight formation, only one wide receiver. Fake the jet sweep. This is going to be a throw by Frazeman. Doesn't have it. Starts taking it up the middle. And I'll tell you, the hitting is ferocious out there.
Yes, it is indeed.
Frazeman got blasted at the end of that play on a tackle. One of the offensive linemen for Ross is getting up, picking up his helmet, and putting it back on his head. I mean, the hits have been hard in this game.
Yeah, the green wave is rolling, and the Ross Rams are surfing and capsizing.
All right. Frazeman handles a hard snap. Badin fans want to hold there on a potential block punt. They're not going to get the call. And Eric Rawlings' return is not going to be anywhere near as impressive as the previous one. You can hear the Badin Rams fans. One Badin Ram snuck there into the backfield there. He got spun around right as he was going to try to block the punt. I'm not going to pretend like I've got the referee's angle to know if the hands were inside the shoulder pads on that or not.
That's true.
But it was certainly interesting enough looking
yes.
to garner the ire of half of the partisan crowd. The other half of the crowd's like, what?
What happened?
I didn't see anything. First down and 10 for the Badin Rams with a 4-point lead. 32 seconds left. They could call a running play here and end the quarter if they so choose. They're at their own 33-yard line, 1st and 10, and this is that running play to Jack Walsh up the middle. He's going to get a yard. Ross's defensive line.
Holding tough.
Give them credit. They are hanging right there with them. If Coach Common says they're undersized, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Absolutely, and the size of the heart of these kids. These kids are playing their hearts out.
Badin is walking over to the sideline. They have absolutely no interest in running another play here in the third quarter, and who can blame them?
I don't blame them one bit.
Johnny Boy, we got a good one here at Kumler Field.
Absolutely.
We have reached the end of the third quarter. Badin Rams 14, Ross Rams 10. We'll be right back at you.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
And we're back to Kumler Field, getting ready to start quarter number 4.
4.
What quarter number?
4.
4! I had Milan, Indiana last night, actually. The Fighting Gene Hackmans.
Good old Hinkle Field.
Oh, yeah. They knocked off the New Miami Vikings 39-6 last night at that game at Mara Field. And some of the Badin fans still heckling the official for the lack of a call there on a potential hold, maybe not, on a potential block punt that ended up being gotten away by Braden Frazeman.
Overall, I got to give the officials credit. I think they've been calling a very good game so far. They've been generous, but they've been fair as far as their generosity on both sides of the ball. So
all you can ask for is consistency.
Exactly, and they've provided that tonight.
And you know you're getting the forward progress spot virtually every single time.
Exactly.
And that's what they're happy to have. So we still come out of this TV timeout with the TV coverage. Obviously, that's causing a little extra length here to some of these timeouts tonight.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So both teams are now back out on the field. Badin now going from left to right, heading toward the south end zone under a nearly full moon at Kumler Field tonight. Blessed Yom Kippur to all the Jewish friends listening from a couple days ago.
Absolutely.
The Day of Atonement, as is hearkened in the book of Leviticus.
Yes.
John Williams, you were, of course, the best Catholic at Badin High School.
Oh,
when
yes,
you were there.
of course.
That's right.
Recipient of the Archbishop Ultra Award. Thank you, Badin. I appreciate it.
That's it. We got an Ultra Award winner here and a Leibold Award winner here. Calling this game.
Just a couple of award winners.
Just
what
a
can we
couple of
say?
award-winning Badin medalists calling a little Badin and Ross here as we're finally back from the TV timeout and ready to rock and roll. Second down and a long 9 for Badin now. Ball's at their own 34-yard line. Vederick, quarterback power, going to the left. He's
Nice
got
blocking.
room, tucks it up. He's loose.
Oh, my.
He might get all the way to the end zone, and he will. He's gaining separation down the left sideline into the end zone. That didn't take long. Landon Vederick, 66 yards.
Wow.
And John, execute order 66.
I got to tell you, what a great job by his linemen blocking. he got the running backs pulling on the other side of the field to create the blocks and gave him the hold he needed to score all the way for 66 yards.
I don't know that he even got touched
He did not.
the entire way down the field. That's great blocking.
That was.
Neeson's kick is up. And it is good, as Al Michaels would say. And so, the Badin Rams are now back up by the 2 scores they wanted.
Absolutely.
And Ross is back into
Hurry up
comeback
tempo.
mode. Yeah, the fight for tempo. Ross has had the better end of the fight for tempo
Yes.
almost all game. But again, this is going to start challenging them a little bit because this is now going to be outside of the comfort zone.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, you may see a little bit more of the passing game from Frazier.
Well, Frazeman has the arm.
Yes.
I know he's got the arm. We've seen him throw. He's looked pretty good.
He has.
When he's put the ball in the air. The question becomes, how often do they want to?
Correct.
I mean, the playbook probably is full of a lot more running plays than passing plays,
Absolutely.
given that they only threw it 8 times in the first 3 games.
That's true.
So, of course, they hadn't needed to either.
That's
Now,
true.
Ross does have some history coming from behind. They didn't play last week, but 2 weeks ago they were on the road at Valley View. And Ross, down by 4 points, punched a late touchdown in the last minute of that game to win that thing. So, hard-fought win over the Spartans up in Germantown.
It's a long quarter. We'll see.
They've got the time to do it.
They do have it.
But they can't dilly-dally. It's got to be a little bit of urgency now on the part of the Ross Rams.
Absolutely.
Neeson puts the ball down at the 40-yard line. Badin tends to alternate what type of kickoffs they have. Some deep, some short. We'll see if they pooch this one even. Now this is about a line drive one, and this one's going to go out of bounds. Not what Jackson Neeson wanted. And the Ross Rams, hey, you want field position? You got your own 35-yard line. That ain't bad.
That's not bad at all. I think that's about the best you could hope for in that situation.
Oh, yeah. Referees still haven't spotted the ball yet, but this has got to get spotted at the 35 after the illegal procedure. First and 10 for the Ross Rams. 11:48 left. They got a whole fourth quarter to work with if they want it. Braden Frazeman has one receiver all the way out to the left side of the formation. Flexbone with Caldwell behind him. And Frazeman ends up handing off the ball. He doesn't go far. This is going to be a loss of 1 as the Badin defensive line ends up pushing the Ross offensive line about a yard back into the backfield.
The green wave just rolling over.
Big old number 53 out there, Nick Marischella. We've called his name once tonight already.
Yes,
number
indeed.
71, Logan New. Those are the 2 on the right side, or it looks like Marcello and New are two of the ones on the defensive line. Quick little pass. This was the 3-receiver trip formation. Try to throw it out there on the smoke route, but nobody home on that one as the ball kind of fluttered like a dying quail and hit the ground.
And I'm not sure the receivers knew which one he was throwing to.
That one, a little communication cross up there. For Ross, it's going to be 3rd down and 11. And this is where that wave can kind of come over you if you're not careful.
Yes, indeed.
Ross needs to change the momentum back into their favor here, and they got a 3rd and 11 to try to do it.
And I think if I'm Badin, I'm probably sending a little extra pressure toward the quarterback.
Looks like only a 4-man rush. Frazeman's going to keep it. He's going to run it himself, taking it through the Badin defense. Gets popped at the end of the play, and a late flag thrown by 2 different officials.
Wow.
The hit on the play was by Jeffrey Lunamata. Frazeman was kind of diving, and Lunamata kind of stuck his shoulder pad in there.
Yeah, he gave himself up, and then he just got the hit, the nice little pop at the end.
Well, why the Badin fans don't like this is he didn't slide. It was a forward dive type of thing. Now, of course, they're going to call it targeting. So 15 yards tacked on, and just like the previous drive, you got a 15-yard penalty now added on to the end of a run. Ross is now across midfield.
In great position.
In great position. And they've not taken a lot of time to have to do it. That's the most important thing.
That's true.
They've not had to take a lot of time off the clock.
They've sped up their tempo just a tad.
Just a bit. 1st and 10. Ball is on the Badin 38-yard line as Ross tries to get the ball in toward the red zone and put up some points here to get this thing back to a 1-possession game. They've got the time.
They do.
Frazeman under center. Jay Warren goes in motion. Frazeman gets helicoptered like John Elway.
Goodness.
That's an impressive tackle by Logan New. And not only that, he got held on top of it. There is a holding penalty in the backfield.
Wow.
Badin may take this, actually. Okay, they're going to decline it. They're going to take the sack. But where that flag is, it would have been 10 yards beyond that flag. Badin is going to take a 2nd down and 17. It could have been a 1st and about 30 if they wanted it.
I think they like their odds with the loss of the down.
They'll take the loss of the down. You can really decide either one on that one.
That's true.
In the NFL, you would just simply take the negative 7-yard play, but with high school, that would have been a 10-yard penalty, 10 yards in the backfield.
Correct.
Badin's defensive line played really well there.
Yes, they
Toss
did.
sweep, Jay Warren. Swarm. There's Logan New again.
That young man is having a game tonight.
He thought about taunting for a second and then graciously picked up the running back. That was nice.
Yes.
Made a better decision there.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh. Badin's defense all over the backfield. They are 7 yards deep in the backfield on these plays now.
Yes.
Ross now has a 3rd down and 22.
Maybe a little bit of that size advantage coming into play now.
A little bit. It wears you down. It's not something that happens on the first play of the game,
Right.
but maybe in the 4th quarter it makes a difference.
It does.
Trips receivers as Frazeman goes into the shotgun formation here. We'll see what Ross has in their playbook for 3rd and 22. Frazeman's going to try to throw deep. He guns it. He's got a Badin guy ready to intercept it, and it is picked. Ball hung up there, and that was Braden Moore. And you can almost make the argument that Braden Moore was the intended receiver on that play.
Right.
He was the closest one to where that ball was coming down.
He was.
Kind of a desperation play there. It
was.
was 3rd and 22.
Yes.
Works like a short punt.
It does.
And Badin is going to have the ball after that unfortunate turn of events for Ross.
Yes,
Fortunate
indeed.
turn of events for Badin. The Badin Rams have the ball at the 30-yard line now. 9:28 remaining in the 4th quarter and an 11-point lead. This has been a very slow anaconda-like squeeze for Badin
Yes,
to gain
indeed.
control of this game. It has not been easy at all.
Yes. If I'm them, the clock is my friend now.
Oh, yes. Federick keeps it on the read option. He's got one man to beat. Makes a juke. Gets around him. Upfield. Across midfield. Across the 40-yard line. And finally runs out of real estate as Kyle Becker brings him down by the Badin sideline. A gain of 33, 32. And you're kind of wondering now if this old momentum is kind of going green.
I think the green light has hit. Let's go, 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 baby.
Let's go. 1st and 10. 38-yard line for the Badin Rams. Looking to put a punctuation mark on this one. This has not been an easy day at the office. Jack Walsh up the middle, untouched for 8-9 yards. Keeps turning his legs. He's got a first down. He's across the 25-yard line and finally brought down after a 15-yard gain.
By half the Roughs defense, it
Oh,
looks
my
like.
gosh.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. Badin's offensive line firing off of the ball right now. Ross defensive line, they got their hands on their hips. They have played so hard tonight.
They have, and you got to give credit to Badin. They've got the momentum now, and the wheels are turning.
Oh,
the
yeah.
wheels are turning.
This is they got him caught in a vice now, and they're kind of turning the screws just a little bit. 1st and 10, Badin. Ball at the 23-yard line. Viderick takes the snap. Hand off to Jack Walsh. Again, untouched for 8 yards until he's finally brought down. He's getting huge holes.
Yes, he is.
You're a fan of offensive line play, Biggie.
I am. And I got to tell you, those offensive linemen, they are creating the holes and giving the separation that the running back needs to just pummel them.
I know they call them the big uglies. I think Badin thinks it's pretty beautiful. 2nd and 1 for the Badin Rams, who are now letting the play clock drain down. Smart.
Very smart indeed.
Down is going to be about 8 minutes left to go in the game when they snap this ball. They're in the shotgun. Jack Walsh actually pointing at the play clock to Viderick and telling him, keep an eye on that clock. They've got it running in the end zone. Darryl Morrell, I believe, is running the play clock tonight. Walsh, this time he doesn't get hit that far upfield, but he's going to be able to pick up a first down. Gets about 5 yards on the carry. Nice, modest gain. And it's going to be 1st and goal for the Badin Rams. Clock stopped at 7:58, and they'll wind it when they're ready for play. And I don't know why they're waiting, because there's no chains here on an and goal situation. But now they go ahead and wind it. Badin can take off about 25 seconds off the clock here before snapping this football. That'll get him down around the 7.5-minute mark in the 4th quarter. Viderick. It's a shotgun power offense. Viderick's going to take a quarterback power going left. And again, picture that as a Cam Newton play.
Very
it's
much
been one
Cam
of Badin's
Newton.
more successful offensive schemes tonight.
Yes.
Viderick's gain there is going to get about half the yardage required. He's going to be just inside the 5-yard line. We'll call it the 4. Normally, when you think of power football, you're not thinking it out of the shotgun formation.
That's true.
But this is very much a downhill running scheme that Badin is now implementing
Yes.
against Ross's defense, who is grasping for straws, trying to get a turnover or something to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, and typically you think of the defense usually pinning the ears back, but I got to tell you, watching the Badin offensive line, they're the ones pinning their ears back and pushing them upfield.
They're definitely a forward motion when you see the two lines. It is definitely tilting green. Walsh. Double handoff, it looks like. And a fumble is recovered in the end zone. The Ross Rams got what they needed. Dylan Hammonds comes up with the ball. A failed quarterback running back handoff exchange. The ball popped out, and the ball rolled through all of the linemen into the end zone, where Hammonds found it, and is going to rescue the Ross Rams out of the trap for now.
And a little extra prayer thrown up on the Ross sideline has been answered.
All right. Ross only down 11. They got 6:46 left to go.
There's still time to
They're
pull
going to
this
need a
off.
quick score. Even a field goal would get them within 8.
Field goal would be good.
And they've got a good enough kicker to do it.
Absolutely.
How big is that off the upright right before halftime?
That is huge
It's
now.
been coming into play a few different times here.
Yes, indeed.
In the second half. 39-yard kick is not something automatic by any stretch. You can't assume you're going to hit that. Fraisman keeps the ball on a quarterback end around, so to speak, there. Gains about 3 yards there, and Badin piles them up.
And yet the Badin defense just collapsing as quick as they get the ball.
And the clock
keeps running. Absolutely.
That's right. Ross has got to keep an eye on that, because now they're getting down into danger territory. 2-score game, down below 6.5. You can't play this just for one score. 2nd and 7 for the Ross Rams. 2 wide receivers now out, one way out wide and one in the slot.
Now the question
Caldwell
is,
behind.
you go a little play action here.
They're going to throw it, a straight throw. Ball's tipped a couple times, finally hits the ground. and is called incomplete as the officials all gather together and all make matching signals of touching the turf. That was a straight pass play, a little button hook on a slant.
Credit to the defender for getting his hands up, and just a tiny little tip.
A tip of the ball of the defender, and then it still hit the receiver's hands a couple times,
Yes.
but the tip did enough to screw up what needed to be done.
Our good old friend Crisco back in effect here.
Oh, yes. 3rd down and 7 for Ross. At least that stops the clock. 5:55 remaining in the 4th quarter now for the Ross Rams. Frazeman's going to keep it. He's going to pitch it wide now, and the Badin defense stretches them out and is ready.
Just suffocating it is right now.
This 4th quarter has been Badin having an extra gear
Yes.
that Ross has been struggling to find. Ross has played their hearts out.
They have.
Make no doubt about it. But you can see it in the line play. You can see it in how far deep Badin's defensive line is getting into the backfield. This 4th quarter has not gone the way Coach Cummins would want it to go. It's not for lack of effort. They are trying.
That's true. A little high snap there.
Beautiful punt for Frazeman.
What a great.
More.
Oh, muffed.
Muffs it, picks it up at the 34-yard line.
What a
and
great
shoestring
open
tackle.
field tackle.
And a flag is thrown at the end of that play. The shoestring tackle was by Austin Farris of the Ross Rams. And now we'll see what kind of infraction the officiating crew saw on that play. It was right at the time of the shoestring tackle, but I don't think it was the tackle itself. It's a block in the back away from the play. That's going to back Badin up more in terms of field position, but Badin got what they wanted out of that drive, namely they got the ball back.
The ball back, yes. They got possession. They have control of the clock now.
And so we'll see they're going to spot the ball at Badin's own 27-yard line. 5:12 remaining in the 4th quarter here at Kumler Field. Ross got the turnover they needed, but they didn't capitalize offensively. They need another turnover now.
That's true.
And Badin has absolutely no interest in causing a turnover, so to speak. They're
No.
not going to play this very risky, I wouldn't think.
I think you go very conservative here.
Well, Badin and Ross are getting a little taste of what it must be like to be in the NFL. They're all lined up and ready to go, and the referees come in and blow the whistle and say,
No.
TV crew's still on a commercial break.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. We'll see if we have any kind of update here on the Hughes Big Red. They were playing Purcell Marion tonight. They have gone final. And Hughes piled it on in the 4th quarter. They knock out Purcell Marion 46-13.
Oh, my.
They pulled away there at the end. Big Red Hughes with a win. And so they are going to climb up a little bit from 12th in Region 12. We'll show that to you a little bit later. We're back here. And so 1st and 10 for the Badin Rams. Handoff goes to Walsh up the middle. Once again untouched for 8 yards.
8 yards, untouched.
Going to fall forward as he gets tripped up, and he's going to gain about 11 or 12 on the play. And the ball is going to come out to the Badin 39-yard line as the clock meanders its way below 5 minutes.
Yes.
Here at Kumler Field. How nice is that on 1st and 10 when you're trying to run at the clock when you can have a running back not touched for 8 yards?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's what ideal and what you hope for.
Respect being shown from Badin toward Ross here, though, as they are not breaking the huddle until 15 seconds left on the play clock.
Absolutely.
And they are very, very deliberate in their pace right now.
And if you're Ross, you got to be hoping now for that extra gear. If there's an extra gear, you got to find it, and you got to use it now.
That's exactly right. Nick Yorty's not happy about this. He kind of threw his visor a little bit there on an illegal formation. That call was blown dead at the beginning. That's another one of those that would get thrown in the NFL and be a free play type of thing. In this case, it is called right away.
Right.
And so 1st and 15 now for the Badin Rams, and the clock runs. And they've not broken the huddle yet, and they're now down to 10 seconds on the play clock, and now they break it. Now they're going to have to hustle up to get set. As Braden Moore goes really, really wide and gets set, and now here's the snap. Viderick's going to do the quarterback power left play. That was the one that got the 66-yard touchdown earlier, and this about exact spot on the field. Ross defends that one a little bit better this time. Only about a 3 or 4 yard gain there, and so the Badin Rams will have 2nd and 12 as we tick below 4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, it looks like he got about half of that penalty yardage back.
Badin obviously is looking at that clock more than anything else right now. And
Absolutely.
saying if we give the ball back to Ross without enough time to score twice, we
We're in
feel
good
pretty good
shape.
about our chances, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And again, 15 seconds left before they break the huddle in the play clock. This is good clock management by Coach Jordy and the Badin Rams.
Excellent clock management.
Federick takes the shotgun snap, hands it to Walsh. Shuffles around a little bit now, makes his finally scat back cut going north-south.
Still pulling defenders with him. Wow.
Churned his legs for an extra 2 or 3 yards on the end of that play. There wasn't much there, but he's going to get about 6 or 7 after all that effort.
That was quite an impressive run.
Dragging a few Ross Rams with him. It's a third manageable now, 3rd and 5. I can't think Badin would go for it on 4th down if they don't get this. They'd probably punt the ball deep and trust their defense.
I agree.
Their defense has only given up 10 points today.
Yes. Well, coupled with the fact that, again, their defense has found that extra gear in the fourth quarter.
well, Badin's defense really has been their calling card all year long.
That's true.
7 points given up to Mount Healthy, 7 points given up to Bellbrook. Mount Healthy's a 4-1 team.
Yeah.
Bellbrook's 3-2. These are not slouches. Federick keeps a quarterback power right. He is met, stood up by Bryson Baston, who says, I got that extra gear. He meets him 2 yards upfield and face plants him.
I got your gear right here.
4th down and 3, and a timeout taken by Ross. That's their second timeout. Badin's going to have a 4th and short situation to handle with. But they've managed to drain the clock all the way down to 2:17, Biggie.
Yes. I think they did what they planned to do, and they've done it very well.
This is definitely what Badin wanted out of that drive, even if they end up punting the ball here.
That's true.
They got what they wanted.
Tick, tick, tick. The clock rolls.
That's it. We'll be right back here at Kumler after this timeout. 21-10, green and white.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We're going to have a 4th down punt here. Federick is going to go ahead and kick it. Ross sends a jailbreak in there. Can't get there. Ball fielded at the 15-yard line. And the Ross Ram has about 6 Badin Rams around him, but he's going to get a face mask penalty at the end of this thing. And Yordi is going to pick up a penalty for running onto the field after that. Riley Caldwell was the return man. Ross came in there for an all-out punt block, sent only one guy deep. Riley Caldwell caught it. Had 6 Badin Rams around them, and they're going to get about 30 penalty yards to get to this thing.
Yep. Oh, my.
Oh, boy.
Well, I got to tell you, just watching the second half of this game, you know, the Badin defense has played into that extra gear mode, and I think really the size advantage, you can really see it. You didn't see it the first half of the game, but this second half into the third, and especially in this fourth quarter, you see how the size advantage has been a deciding factor for the Badin team in this game.
Little bigger along the lines, and Ross has executed well, but now the brute force.
Yes, you can't fault their effort, their technique, or their heart. But at the end of the day, you're just tired after
What is
beating.
it at the end of The Princess Bride? Do it your way.
Yes, absolutely.
Wait for his head to pop over the shoulder and hit him with the rock.
Yeah.
My way is not very sportsmanlike.
Yeah.
1st and 10. Ross Rams. They're only going to get 15 yards on the face mask. It was a sideline warning called on the Badin team for being out on the field. Fraisman is going to try to pitch it and decides to keep it instead. And he almost broke a tackle by Logan New.
Logan New.
But New got enough brute force on him to knock him off balance as he slipped out. And it's going to end up being a net gain of 0 yards after all of that effort for Fraser.
Oh, yes.
2nd down and 10 for the Ross Rams. Ball is at their own 36.
And Ross in the hurry up now.
We're down below 2 minutes. You need 11 points. Fraisman. No time.
Oh, my. What is that? 3 green jerseys behind. No, 4.
TJ Hayes had the first shot at him, and he whiffed on the sack. Frazeman made a nice juke move to kind of slide, step around Hayes, step up, and right into the belly of Hunter Harrison.
Oh, my.
They're working so hard out there, and they're getting negative yards now at this point in time. And Frazeman actually loses his helmet on the play. He's got to come off for a play now. That's not going to help Ross on 3rd down and
not at all.
17. Oof. Clock will now wind. Below 1.5 minutes left to go, as the Badin defense looks to try to cement a very hard-earned, hard-fought victory here. Credit to Ross. They have absolutely fought tooth and nail.
They have played their guts out.
Aiden Brown is going to take the direct snap with Frazeman out.
Ooh.
He's going to go around the right end.
And get popped.
Goes east-west.
And Badin's defense goes north-south.
He gets popped about 1 yard forward. Timeout, Ross. Now down below a minute. We have 56 seconds left to go in the game here at Kubler Field. So taking one last look here at the Region 12 playoff standings. Hughes gets their win. They're at number 12. They play Purcell Marion. They're going to get 13 second-level points. They're going to jump over Northwest, and they might jump over Franklin. I have not done the math yet, but they're going to be climbing, Big Red Hughes. We'll have to see if they're frauds or if they actually have the ability to beat some good teams.
That's true.
Purcell Marion is the best team they've beaten, and that was a win tonight for the Big Red.
Quite convincingly, too.
Ross is going to slip down below Monroe in the standings. And actually, they're going to slip down also below Bellbrook.
Okay.
So Ross is going to be sitting at number 4, which is still double home game territory, and they got 5 games against the SWAC where they can try to rack up some points.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're going to try to do, certainly. The Badin Rams, that gap between 1 and 2 is going to get even bigger with 16 more big second-level points. And then every time Ross wins a SWAC game, Badin's getting 5.5 or 6 more.
So
Huge.
at this point, after you beat them, you're cheering for them to win.
That's exactly right. Yes, absolutely. Frazeman, screen pass. You know what? I admire that on 4th and long. And about 6 Badin rushers were going in. About one of them tipped the ball as they were going into the quarterback there. That was nearly the big play that Ross wanted there.
Yes.
Kind of surprising it took him that long to call that, actually. You think about how intent the defense was at getting back to Frazeman.
Absolutely.
There.
You know, if you can get the good screen pass right over the lineman and the big rush that Badin had, you got some good yardage you're going to get.
Yeah. I remember several years ago being at a Badin Carroll game, and Carroll had a nice running back that was out there. It was kind of carving up Badin a little bit. Close game. And I heard one of the fans, I don't remember who it was, at the Badin game, as the Carroll running back had the ball was going to the pile, somebody behind me said, twist his ankle. And I thought, ooh, first of all, you're a Catholic school. It's not what you want.
Right.
Several years back. But if you put the morality out of it and you start thinking about the playoff points, the idea that you want to injure somebody so that not only do you beat them, but they can't give you future points by winning future games, that actually makes no logical sense on an even amoral standpoint.
None at all.
Badin Rams certainly want Ross to go win the rest of the way out now because it means more points for them.
Absolutely.
Chance to clinch the 1 seed even before Week 10 if they can beat the 4 GCL schools that have struggled. Couple of kneel downs for Landon Viderick, and that's going to be all she wrote as the clock ticks down toward triple zeros. The Badin Rams, they've only lost to Ross once all these years. A couple years ago on opening day, and this one was not easy.
This one was definitely not easy.
So, final score, Badin Rams 20, Ross Rams 10. We'll come back and wrap this thing up here after this quick commercial. You're listening to the Butler County High School Sports Report Radio Network.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
Wrapping up some closing thoughts here from Kubler Field as the Badin Rams football team goes over to the student section and starts jumping up and down. Green smoke getting thrown up in the air by Gina Helms, the campus minister down there. It's a happy night to be a Badin Ram. Ross has got nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely
That was
not.
a wonderful effort. They just kind of ran out of steam at the end there. Biggie, what do you think, man?
I think it's a great game. You got to give credit to Ross. They played their hearts out. They absolutely tried to execute, and I think overall in the first half they did. But as we said before, into the game, that size advantage played the difference. And plus, you got to give credit to Vitterick for the field goal.
Oh, my gosh. With a 62-yard punt.
The punt, yeah.
It was incredible. That set up really Badin's second touchdown because they flipped the field on what was going to be horrible field position, and Ross was going to have great field position.
Absolutely.
And then Ross turns around after being backed up deep in their territory. They punt back and have Eric Rawlings with a 45-yard punt return set him up inside the 10-yard line.
Yes.
That was really kind of the key swing. It really was special teams there.
Absolutely.
The hidden yardage that really gave Badin that second score and that breathing room that they needed to be able to beat the Ross Rams.
And shout out
tonight.
for Chris Hardawig again. Punters' lives matter.
Yes, Chris Hardawig, Wiggy. Punters' lives definitely do matter, and punters' lives matter tonight.
Absolutely.
For the Badin Rams. One last look at the standings, and again, I don't have the ability or the technology to update this screen, but I can tell you Badin now has 26.5 first-level points divided by 5 games. They now have 84 second-level points.
Oh, my.
That's a lot of second-level points. There's a lot of good teams that you beat. For comparison, St. Xavier has 92.
Okay.
So that's pretty darn good for a Division III school playing a bunch of Division III teams. It's sitting at
Absolutely.
84 second-level points. If you look at the far left column there, which is where Badin is at 12.26 or whatever that is, Badin now goes up to 13.95. So
Okay.
really 14 there in that column. Monroe is the next team behind him at 9.7. So that tells you just how big of a gap Badin has opened up
That is
between
quite a
one
gap.
and the second-ranked Monroe Hornets. Bellbrook stays where they are, and Ross, by virtue of that 16 first-level points, now divided by 4 instead of divided by 3. Ross is going to drop down to 8.54 on that left-hand column. That's the one that matters. That's going to plant them right dab smack between Bellbrook and Tippecanoe for 4th on the list. Any closing thoughts there, Biggie Styles?
Hey, go Rams.
Go Rams, go Rams. And if you're the Badin Rams and you win today, you're also saying, go Rams. We want Ross to pile up 5 more wins for you and keep getting you that number 1 seed now.
Absolutely.
After you beat them.
Yes.
Ross, they're 3-1 now. Nothing to be ashamed of, and they're
Yes.
heading into SWAC season now. They play their next game against the Northwest Knights, and that's going to be a good game.
And they played a great game. They played a very tough game, a very intense game.
Badin got 16 second-level points by beating Ross tonight. Ross can get 16 second-level points by beating Northwest next Friday.
Absolutely.
That game is at Robinson Field,
Okay.
down there at the barn, home of the cow dump, the Ross Rams. So the Battle of St. Al's goes Catholic tonight.
Yes.
It goes to Badin. Badin Rams 5-0 on the season. They will play next week a road game at the Carroll Patriots, who are 1-4 and fading very, very fast.
Very fast.
So, all right, for Biggie Styles, John Williams, for Chris Vogt back at the ranch, all the other people whose last name is Vogt that is out there for the Butler County High School Sports Report. This is Joel Sackenheim signing off. Drive home safely if you're out in your vehicle driving around. 21-10, Badin over Ross.